Okay, welcome to Current Exposure. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays, Newark. We have a special live stream this evening. We're bringing on Kevin Jenkins. Hello, Kevin. How are you?
Hey, darling, how are you?
I am well. Thank you for asking. It's been a while.
No,
So
I
great
saw,
to see
I
you.
saw your show of Gail. It was great.
Oh, thank you.
All your
Thank
shows
you.
are always, all your shows are always good. All your
I
shows.
appreciate that. I took notes from you and Eric Dawson
Oh,
back when you guys were doing the live streams. And
you're better than we were.
oh my gosh, you know what? I got to play some old clips because I feel like we're in the Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah, yeah. People tell me, people say that a lot to me. Like the things you talked about 6 years ago, seven. I don't know. It might have been 8 years. I don't know how long it was, but
Yeah.
everything we talked about basically came true, or
Yep.
still, maybe I should say, came true and still in play. But
Right.
yeah,
Right.
it is. But it was great. It was a great conversation during those years that I did the show with Eric. It was a lot of fun.
Wow. And on truth, hello, Emily Akins. Welcome. Hello, George. Come on, everybody, get into the live stream. I'm glad I caught up with you and we have you on because people, some people are catching up to what you said 7 years ago. That was like 2018.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
No,
Maybe even a little before
2018.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. My brain doesn't operate that way. So you got to help me.
Yeah. It was, you know what? It was within a 10-year span. Put it like that.
Yeah, I
10
think
years,
so.
10 years have gone by
I know, and
and
I.
we're worse off.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's very true. That's very true.
But
I
some
don't.
people are
Yeah,
saying
we
we're
are.
better.
Huh?
People are saying we're better off though. I think those are the ones who are benefiting.
Yeah, I guess so. Look, at the end of the day, you know, people have the right to think the way they want to, but you got to live in the real world sometime. Like the cup, like the cup.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Brandon well. You're branding well.
I'm trying to build something here.
Yeah, you're doing well. You're doing well.
You
Keep it.
know, as opposed to begging for someone to give me a seat at the table. I don't have time to spend my energy talking about who won't give me an opportunity, why they won't give me an opportunity, and then my ancestors were slaves, and we already know that.
Well, thank God you've moved out of
Why
that
waste?
cycle.
Yeah,
Into
why waste my energy on that?
yeah, yeah. Well,
I
the
like
ancestors.
creating.
Yeah,
This is my creation, and
yeah.
I
And I
like
think
doing
it's
it.
great. And you own it. You own
Right.
the content, right? You own your voice. You own your own agency. And you know what? I'm proud of you. You've been working
Thank
on this
you.
show for some time.
Yes, I
And
have
you've been very
within
consistent,
that
very
span.
consistent. Yeah. So I think it's a good show. I think it's a great show. I think you have a great line of guests. And anytime you allow me to come on, I always appreciate it. I'll never turn you down. You never turn me
Thank
down.
you.
And I
Thank you.
really appreciate your mind. And I think you're doing a great job. And
I
you know what?
appreciate
It's all about having a conversation, right? So you have the conversation with people that share your values and your principles, and you move on. Anybody
absolutely.
that doesn't like that, too bad.
Absolutely right. And you know what? I really don't care
Right.
because they're not paying my bills. They're not buying the computer equipment. They're not making sure I have Wi-Fi to do the live streams. They're not reaching out to the guests, to bring people on. And also, like I have a little mission too built into what I do. I try to bring on people who look like me that's doing great things.
Yeah, well,
Such
you're
as
doing that.
yourself,
You're
Gail.
you're doing that. You have a very good show, and it's not one of those shows where you just cringe every time you see them.
And you know what? I'm not always right all the time. And I like to bring on people who have different opinions.
Hmm. Well, your
You
show is
know?
not about being right; it's about information.
Right.
And us having a
Absolutely.
conversation. I mean, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine today about this guy Chad Jackson has been online giving a different perspective of Martin Luther King. And
Okay.
people were just outraged about it. And I said, why are you outraged? It's all right. It's perfectly okay for us to do a retrospect of someone's life that has so much value in our lives. Historically, you want to know the truth. It doesn't disqualify what he did. It
Absolutely.
doesn't disqualify, how he evolved as a human being. But we should be able to have a conversation about anybody at any given time within the parameters of talking about or finding new information about someone. Now, if it makes you uncomfortable, that's on you. That ain't on me. I don't think we should poo-pah that kind of stuff. I think we should be open to it. Now, some people talking
Mhm.
crazy is one thing, but some people that are talking in a retrospective way about who he was, what he stood for, what are some of his values. And then if you feel differently about that, and this guy does feel differently, but majority of the stuff he's saying is he's not lying.
Okay.
He's not lying. He's actually speaking truth. But I understand how we love our heroes. We love our heroes, and Martin Luther King is a hero to
Right.
so many people. And I was trying to break that down for a friend of mine, and he was irate about it. And I said, well, you're being emotional because you're not really listening to what he's saying. The
Mhm.
context of what Martin was saying and how he evolved from the early Martin Luther King to the latter part of that's one of the reasons why he was assassinated. But you can't just disqualify the man's scholarship and just say,
Right.
oh, because he's talking about Martin Luther King, oh, he's a horrible person because he's Black. Well, that's ridiculous.
And why
That is,
can't we do that? Why can't
but,
we have constructive conversations where we criticize things of our heroes, and especially things that we won't do today?
well, you have to do that. I think that's why shows like this and social media has been helpful in reframing some of the narratives that we were taught. The average person that talks to you about Martin Luther King doesn't even know his history. Doesn't know
Mhm.
anything about the civil rights movement,
Right.
and when I hear white people talk about the civil rights movement, I cringe because, they have captured it, and they then said, this is what he stood for. Well, that might not be true. And of course they want to pacify us with the
Right.
younger Martin as opposed to the older Martin. And some of the stuff that he was talking about had a socialist slant to it, a communist slant to it. It's okay. That was the
Right.
time. That was the time that he lived in. And he was probably trying to needle through all of these particular things and growing in his mind of where he wanted to go and what he wanted to talk to the country about. But you can't disqualify that he was a major figure in history, an important figure in history, and that we should
Absolutely.
admire. But he did evolve. He did, go through a metamorphosis, and, they murdered him because he was transforming his thinking. So when Chad
Mhm.
Jackson started talking about Martin Luther King, even me, and I think I'm well versed on the history, the external history. I was a
Mhm.
little like offended by it. But then when I sat down and listened to him, I was like, well, he's telling the truth about this. And we should be
Right.
open to that because that helps us, be able to analyze what he was doing and try to build on what he was doing or try to leave some of it behind. So
Right.
when people say that he was a socialist or he was into communism, well, that makes sense back in the 60s. There was a lot
Well,
of African American people, Black American people
that's
that
how
were,
we survived.
that were
We
looked
we we had a socialistic
at.
system within capitalism.
Right.
We
And that,
leaned on each other.
right. And
The whole "can I borrow some sugar for 2 eggs?" That's
well,
socialism.
that's something we should talk about. That's what I wouldn't coin it as socialism. I would coin it as community. But to your
Right.
point, you make a very good point. This is why these conversations are so helpful. When you're talking and digging deep, even on Malcolm X. A lot of people don't know Malcolm X's history. They don't understand his connection to, Marcus Garvey and his parents and, growing up
Mhm.
in Kansas. And so many deep stories. And I think you should be open to that. I,
I
I,
think
I
so
just don't
too.
understand why, we get all and start talking about people's mama.
Right.
I'm like, what are
Right.
you talking about? It doesn't warrant you doing that, so I'm always open into these kind of conversations. I've tried to read everything underneath the sun, and I've read some of the worst people's work, Stalin's work. I've read his work.
Mhm.
I've read Hitler's work. I've read it all because
Right.
you want to get a deep perspective of what was behind all of it, what was going on in the world at that time. So I've read a lot of dictators' work, and when I don't like to use that word dictators, but I read a lot of people's work that you might not agree with or I don't agree with because there's
Okay.
some layers behind it. Like who was really doing it? Like who was really financing it? What were they really trying to accomplish? How did
Right.
it get distorted? Who distorted it? You know,
Right.
who
Right.
made money off of it? How did they? You gotta open up your mind. And I think what happens, Sakima, is that when you're talking to, you know, the low information crowd, you get caught up in bullshit. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Excuse my
Yep.
language. Bull crap. And
Yeah.
and so and
Yeah.
we get mired in that. And my suggestion to people is stop. Don't do it. Stop doing it. You know, find your tribe, you know, talk to your tribe, build a world and build a dialogue that you can all learn from. And you know, we have trivialized debate,
Yeah.
because we look at debate from one side. You know,
Exactly.
we are intellectual slaves. Black Americans are intellectual slaves, in this country, and it's a fact,
No
because
research.
listening to what they're talking about even today, you know,
Hmm.
they're harkening back to slavery. But
Right.
before slavery, we were kings and queens, right? We can get into that discussion another day. You know, we built roads, we ran urban cities, we ran commerce. But if you talk to a kid right now, they're getting their information off, you know, YouTube, and some
Yeah.
of it's good. Wait a minute, some of it's very good, but if it's not nurtured correctly in
Right.
your home, you grab all of these, you know, concepts and these antidotal things, and then you wrap it in your mind. And then when you talk to me, I look at you like you fucking crazy. Like that's not. And then you get angry at me, you know, because I'm like, well, that's not what that was about. And you know
Right.
what? It's all right for them to get angry. It's okay. But you know, get angry and then go do some work. Because I was always challenged like that as a young man. I was always
Absolutely.
everything.
You
And I
can't.
think that right.
It's like you can't challenge anyone, especially when things are not working. Like getting to the leadership in our city. Since we're talking about leadership and heroes, I feel like there are no heroes and leaders in our city.
Where you are, see, we have to stop looking outward and look inward. You're a leader, you're a hero. You know what you're doing in your community by being a taxpayer, what you're doing on your show by those people. We got it all twisted. It was
Okay.
people like you that led, you know, their communities and their cities. The byproduct is an elected official. And the
Oh.
average elected official in this country, Black Americans, are dumber than the doorknob, you know,
Mm.
and there's nothing that you could really do about it because it reflects on us. You know, it reflects on us who they are. So if you have bum
Wow.
leadership, it reflects on you. If you have continued bum leadership,
Wow.
it reflects on you. If your schools are failing, your children can't read and write, it, you know, it reflects on you. So you are the leader. And I think what has happened is we have co-opted our ability to be leaders because we hand it over to someone else that does not have the capacity to lead, to critically think, you know, to really support, you know, initiatives that bring value to your children and to your community and to your family. You know, the whole word conservative is mean faith, family, and freedom. Black Americans believe in God. Black Americans don't believe in tampons and boys' bathrooms. Black Americans believed in family, and we're trying to create that element of a man and a woman in a household. And that doesn't mean that everybody has to be married, but if you have a child, you know, you want the balance of the yin and the yang, the man and the woman. You got to have that in some sort of way. You know, you just can't
Okay.
allow them to build these superficial families for us coming out of the 60s, and it's becoming a real problem for us. You know, so like I have two daughters, I have three grandkids,
Oh,
right?
wow.
You know, and
Nice.
I talk to my grandkids just like I'm talking to you. I think they get annoyed with me sometimes. My grandboys, anyway, you got to be sick of me. You know, my brother did a lot of that. I didn't do a lot of that actually. My brother did all of that, like training and stuff. By the time
Hmm.
he came to me, I just beat him to death. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. They never came to me for
But
anything.
at least you're engaging with the youth.
Well, you know, listen, engaging with the youth is pretty interesting. I always help young people. I opened up a library in the South Fork called the Luxor Library. I took Black kids
Nice.
all over this country, teaching them about Black history. I did with my own money. I created the Black Male Leadership Institute. I mean, I've done a tremendous amount of things in my community, but that's because that's how I was brought up. It was not for
Right.
me to market and sell. You know, I've built affordable housing for people in my city. You know, I've been a visiting professor. And so I've done
Wow.
everything. And
Wow.
my job is to give support to people like you
Thank
and give support to young men that out there are trying to do and lift their race, lift their community. That's what I get. Outside of that, I really don't care about much of those other things because I'm in the middle of it. I know what's happening in the world. I know what's happening in this country. I know what's happening strategically on the continued displacement of Black Americans, not by white people, by Black people.
you. Oh, can you talk about that in Newark?
Well,
Because
well, it's indicative. Newark is just the tip of
multiple
the iceberg.
fires now too.
Well, Newark is the tip of the iceberg, but they can never do it if we didn't allow them to do it.
We got a question.
Yeah. What's the
Emily
question?
Akins asked your definition of affordable housing.
Well, that's a very good question because I don't believe in that definition of affordable housing, low moderate, because I believe in balanced housing. I believe in housing for the poor. I believe in
Okay.
housing for the middle class, and I
Okay.
believe in housing for the upper class that they could pay their full share. But you don't have that in Newark right now. What you have is an array of developers that have robbed the city blind. Affordability is not $4,000 a unit.
Wow.
And affordability is not giving huge tax credits to developers to build housing. Now, listen, when I was
And
younger,
you said that. You said that this was going to
I
happen
said
with
this was
these
going to happen.
developers, that
Did I not?
they were going to let them come in and dictate to them and throw some peanuts at them, and the
Well,
administration was
I don't
going to
remember
allow it.
every conversation. And Sakima, anybody, Donna Jackson knows me probably better than a lot of people. She knows I don't contain much. I study everything and I'll use it when I can because my brain works differently. But to get back to what Emily was saying, there is no such thing as affordable housing in the city of Newark. There's no such thing as low moderate income housing in the city of Newark. It's
Mm,
housing for the rich.
mm,
And they're taxing our senior citizens out of their homes. They're taxing. Really, I don't think a young person could live here and live a quality life here because in New Jersey you get taxed and overregulated for anything. But to get
right.
back to your affordable housing, Emily's question, housing for the poor, housing for families, housing for the middle class need to be relooked at because we've been taken advantage of. When I was doing housing, it was housing for low, moderate income families with a certain
Okay.
income, right? We didn't check their credit. They didn't have to have 800 score to move an apartment building. When this developer got all the tax credits, we didn't check his credit.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I think there needs to be an affordable, we should change the term, but I think it should be affordable housing discussion. But look, we have so many terrible landlords in our city, like New Community, one of the worst landlords in the city of Newark. I can go on
Wow.
and on about what's happening with seniors. But you know what, though?
Mm,
At the end of the day, those people have to take the fight to those people themselves. But, when you talk about
mm,
affordable housing, I think we need to rewrite that language. I think we've been tax credit out. I think we've been tax abated out. I think that the city now more than, and then one of the other things I paid attention to, I've been here for 2 months and I'm getting the hell out of here. But But let me just tell you what I saw in the last 7 weeks since I've been here. This city has been turned over to outsiders like I've never seen before in my life.
mm.
Our city is not our city anymore at all.
Wow.
Our city is done. We don't own anything. We don't create anything. We're just spending taxpayers' money. And you know what? They're spending taxpayers' money. And it's been a disaster. But at the end of the day, uh,
Mm.
at the end, I hate that at the end of the day, I hate that saying, but at the end, the people in Newark has to decide what they want to be or who they want to be. Right now, the mob controls Newark. So that's something that the city of Newark has to deal with, you know,
Wow. The
um,
mob. Wow.
yeah. So low income housing is where I started my business model. I did a lot of low income housing in this town when I came here, and there's no longer low income housing. When we did Hope 6 project out of HUD, and somebody mentioned HUD, I shouldn't be reading your comments yet, but back in 15, 20 years ago, all you see on Springfield Avenue, all of that affordable housing, we did that through HUD, and look at it, it's still there. It was
Okay.
mixed use home ownership, renters, low moderate income, right? A low income housing. It's still there. It's
Oh
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah, Hope
Oh,
6 was a very
okay.
successful development strategy that HUD had enacted many, many years ago. But it was so successful, they got rid of it. It was successful.
Wow.
Now you have
And
these
that's
developers.
what they do.
Now you
That's
have these developers that are designated developers that are just. And you know another thing, Sakima, the quality of housing they're building in Newark is horrible.
I
Architecturally,
heard.
it really looks like a jail.
Oh
Architecture,
wow.
it looks like a jail. If you see the new buildings, they look like jails.
Wow.
There's nothing
Like
aesthetic that
squares,
brings
boxes,
beauty. Yeah, there's nothing aesthetic to
no
bring
nice
beauty.
architecture.
Nothing. So all of that in 10 years is going to look like garbage and be slum because the developers already got their money anyway. So to answer
Mm.
that question, I hope, Emily, I answered that question correctly. But we do need a better housing strategy. And these people are not capable of doing that. They don't even understand the business. I mean, what they're doing now by farming out the responsibility of land to other quasi organizations is just absolutely ridiculous. So, I mean, that's something that Newark has to figure out. But right now, we're on a slippery slope to nowhere,
Wow.
and that's where we are. But that's a serious issue. And you'll have people come to you and tell you, "Oh, we're going to deal with the affordable housing issue. We're going to." No, they're not. They don't have the capacity. They don't have the understanding. They don't have
You
the
know,
will.
they lied and said they were going to deal with the slumlord issue to prevent people from being evicted. And I remember Donna Jackson is on the live stream. Correct me if I'm wrong. She warned us about prior to the pandemic about the thousands of people that were about to be evicted. So we had the pandemic, they paused it. As soon as the pandemic was declared over, all those people were evicted and still are being evicted. But yet the city of Newark claimed they created this tenant group with the mayor, and it was a partnership with McCarter English, one of the largest law firms
I'm
in the country.
familiar with them. Yes.
Right, right. And they were going to do pro bono work because many of these people that were on the brink of being evicted were low income. So now what happened to them? Where are they?
Well, I don't know where the hell they are, but I could
You
tell you
know?
this. Can you? I could tell you this. I have no idea what's happening there, and I think the city of Newark needs to pay more attention to
Right.
that issue. That's what I believe. I know this sounds weird, but I swear somebody just rung my bell. Can you give me a second,
Oh
please?
yeah, sure, sure. Donald Jackson Jr. says the city council have sold their office to the highest bidder and jumped in bed with the developers. And Emily says, who is on the tenant committee or group? We don't know. And thank you, Donna Jackson. None of these law firms helped anyone. Thank you, because I know we're not crazy.
Well,
We're not crazy.
the thing that I like about your audience is that it's an informed audience, and you can have a real helpful conversation. I think the city of Newark, residents of the city of Newark, needs to coalesce together and start addressing those issues themselves. Because if not, this administration and this council is the most highly dysfunctional council I've ever seen in my life. Actually, this dysfunctionality equals corruption. That's how horrible it is. And the citizens of Newark have to make a decision on how to deal with that because they're losing every day. I mean, just think about being a senior and your taxes have been raised, just say 30% in 10 years.
Right.
So you're being priced out of your house. So that's why those outsiders are knocking on your doors trying to buy your homes. Just imagine a senior
Every
walking to
day.
the door. Just imagine a senior walking to the door and somebody saying, "I'll give you $600,000 for your house."
Right.
And if you go through the community and you see how they're building, I mean, I don't understand what this is all about, but they have turned this city into a junkyard. Newark is a junkyard now. It is a junkyard of incompetence. It's in a junkyard. I mean, if you drive up and down this city, it is frightening. And so, and I don't see a pathway for this city for a long time. And I'm gonna pray for them. I know Gail is running in January, so I'm very happy about that. I'm gonna be back to support her for that. But I got to tell you something. If you don't have a leadership shift in this town, and I'm not talking about these young people running around, masquerading as potential future leaders. We did that already. We saw how that turned out for us. I'm sorry to tell you. They need to get involved, but they need to learn too,
Right.
When they start talking about they want to lead something and the only thing they led is a pencil in high school or in college, They shouldn't be allowed. And then on the flip side, we have people on the council that I'm embarrassed to know they even represent the city, but that's the city's decision. That's the constituent decision to deal with that. But we're in a bad state of affairs in the city of Newark. Just think about the police department that we have now. Think about the infrastructure issues we have now. Think about the water that's continuing to be poisoned.
Yeah.
You know, it's a junkyard. This is an
Yeah.
absolute junkyard. And they stand up in front of you and they give those I love those speeches that Raz gives. I love it. I love it. Yeah, me and my friends, we were drinking scotch laughing. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if y'all ever really sit down and, you know, get a drink and listen to it. And when you see the people in the crowd laugh, I mean, smiling and stuff, I said, they must have gave them something in the water, because that's the biggest bullshit I ever heard in my life. But guess what? I have to live with it like that. It's bullshit. I mean,
it really is. It really is. It really is. It really is.
And I got to tell you something. I've been kind of kind to everybody because Gail was running, and I don't want to cause my wife any problems. I'm completely different than my wife when it comes to these certain things. But you know, I mean, you understand what I'm saying.
I know. Yeah, I know.
But I got to tell you something. I laugh so hard sometimes when I see them act out and they do all of that, you know, that Black Power shit. And I'm like, you know, they after us. They're going to take our SNAP and they're going to take our Medicare and they're going to take this. And, you know, y'all got to stay poor now, because if y'all stay poor now, I'm going to be in power now. Y'all stay poor.
Right.
Don't aspire to be anything. And I'm going to give you all the bullshit programs. And all I'm going to do, you know what Newark has become now? A professional feeding city. We just feed people, give them the cheap food. You know, now let me just tell you this. There are some places that respect that, but the rest of it is just a sideshow. Now, what we've become, they give us free food to sedate us from the crises we're living in. Remember this. They give us free food. It's like a drug. And you got more illegal immigrants and more non-Black people and people that are addicted, which we should pray for and support, but they just line up. You know what I mean? And
I'm not lining up.
But no,
I'm sorry.
But it's okay.
That's degrading to me.
But there's some people, Sakima, that need help. There's some people.
I know.
Everybody.
I know.
Needs help. But
why we gotta line up like cattle and
Newark
slaves?
Become the breeding ground of, you know, food. Give them free food, right? And it takes them from the reality they live in. It's like a food matrix, right?
It is. It really is.
You know, and every time I drive and see that, I'm like, oh my God. Now, but that doesn't disqualify the fact that people need help. And if we were growing a real city, we wouldn't have this problem.
But I see that as trying to capitalize off of people's unfortunate circumstance.
Well,
and take pictures and do a photo op and say, I gave them free food. Well, I made sure they ate.
That's true. And you know what? And I don't know if those people vote or not, but they be lining up for it. Now, for me, I think that helping people is primary to what we should be doing as a government, right?
I agree.
But there's a way to do it. I'd rather have a working class that can go out and support people in need. I would rather have an educated class. I'm talking about a real educated class that can come up with different initiatives to really support, you know, what they're doing. But right now, Newark has just become the gutter of all the cities in America. Chicago, one up. And I got to tell you, I've been to all these cities, by the way.
Wow.
I've worked in all these cities. So if you're talking about Chicago, been there, disaster.
Wow.
If you talk about Los Angeles, been there, disaster. If you talk about Philly, been there, disaster. If you talk about New York, right across, going to be a complete disaster, right? Mississippi, disaster. I've been to all of these cities in these states. And anytime you see this here, right here, a walking disaster.
Wow. Wow.
And all they tell you, all they sell you is they after us. They trying to take something from us. Well, how can they take something from you when you don't have shit?
Yeah. We don't even have a city budget. We don't even have like Mr. Jackson says, we got a Black Power administration, but no push for home ownership. So we don't even own anything.
We can't call it Black. I know. I love my son, Donald. We can't call it Black Power. We have to call it Black embarrassment, Black idiocy. We can't give them narratives that say they suggest they have power, because we now know who has power. The foreigners that are now buying up our property. Listen, think about this. Do you ever see an Asian say, I got an Asian store?
No,
Do you ever see a Puerto Rican say, buy Puerto Rican?
no.
You ever see it? You know what? Anytime I see somebody say, come buy black, I'm like, why? If you got good product, I'm going to come and buy it anyway. You got good food, I'm going to come and buy it anyway. If you got, so when they do
That's
the
true.
black thing, I'm like,
That's true.
okay,
That's true.
let's see how long this lasts.
That's
Because
right.
the majority
Right.
of them don't last because the quality of what they're creating, the quality of the food they're creating, the business model they have fails. But they want
Wow.
to blame somebody white in Texas for that. So,
Right.
I mean, so anyway, that's my thought on the affordable housing thing.
Wow. Now, what do you think about? I already know what you think about term limits because I think there should be some legislation. I
Well,
haven't
you don't
seen.
have to, you can't, it's not legislation. What you have to do is do a petition. And I think
Okay.
term limits are absolutely essential. And I
Okay.
think mayor gets 2 terms and the council gets 3. That's it.
I like that. I
And you're
like
out.
that.
I think that's
How
pretty
can
reasonable. You
how
should
can we
not be
get?
a lifetime politician, right?
I
And if you
agree.
leave and come back, that's fine. But you don't get to stay there for 30, 40 years. And my city got holes in the street and I got crime busting from the scene. Oh, for instance, if I hear someone tells me one more time that Newark crime is down, that's like when Biden said the economy was doing well. That's the stupidest shit I ever heard in my life. I mean, crime is not down. We are under siege. You know, when I walk from my daughter's house up the street from
Mm-hmm.
here, because I'm in Newark, right?
Right.
My daughter says, Daddy, call me when you get home. I said, for what? I'm like,
Oh,
I'm literally up the street. You know, Donna knows my daughter's literally up the street. And she
wow.
calls me, Daddy, you're in the house? I said, now, come on. I mean, I should be able to walk my neighborhood and feel safe, which I do. You know, I don't really worry about anything. I'm Kevin Jenkins. What are you going to do to me? Yeah, well, I mean, what are you going to do? You know, you put a hand on me, you might as well just go in and kill yourself. You know, but
but
you
but
know,
yeah, but you know what? I understand what she's saying, especially when you have, we call it domestic terrorism, when you have 2 kids pull up in a Mercedes and jump out and start spraying everybody with a gun.
well, that's a lot. There's a lot
Eh,
into
eh,
that. There's a lot into that. We can psychologically break that down. It'd probably take a long time. But at the end of the day, you know, Newark is not safe.
right.
Newark hasn't been safe. You can't be safe when your city is run by criminals. You can't be safe when your departments have some of the, I don't even know how these people got their jobs. I know, and I'm not saying I'm not going to
They got
suggest.
appointed. They
Well,
got appointed.
no, I think you're being kind. A lot of these people got their jobs because of other reasons, but that's okay. I don't want to get into that. But my thing is, you know, it is what it is. Newark is a criminal city. The
Mhm.
culture is criminal. The leadership is criminal. Goddamn preachers are criminal. So what the hell?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
The
Yeah,
criminal.
the
I mean, so
preachers.
we were an emerging city on the hill, and right now we're an embarrassment at the bottom of the hill. And
Yeah.
you gotta deal with that. You're a homeowner, you know.
Look what Emily. I like when Emily is on. She said, "Kevin, Newark is safe." You sound like a hater.
I know, I love her. I love Emily. That's my girl. Oh no, I'm not a hater. I'm scared of my daughter Emily.
Just
That's
living
funny.
reality.
I
How
know,
about
but I
living in
know Emily.
reality?
I love Emily. Right, that's great. But you know what? That's sarcasm we need because it is outrageous. You know, I'm 62 years old, right? And I look around at people when they're talking to me, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like you can't even pay your mortgage anymore. You can't even because you can't
No.
afford the taxes anymore. So they're basically pricing everybody out of Newark. The Black Bonnie Ghani mayor is priced you out of your home. The Black Bonnie Ghani mayor has allowed the outsiders to take over. The Black Bonnie Ghani mayor is now you can't even live in an
Bonnie
apartment
Ghani.
anymore. You can't. So he's a socialist, right? And a communist and a Marxist and everything wrapped in the wild. Now he's a Muslim. And what else is he now?
Wait.
He's a Muslim now, and he's a what is those things? Sorority. What's the sorority thing?
The
All
alpha.
they do is take pictures like this now. You know, this I don't
Like
understand
this.
all
This
this.
is how they do it.
I don't know. But I'm just giving you a little levity now, having some
I'm a
fun.
Muslim Christian.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's another one. I mean, the young lady that's going to be there temporarily as Central Ward, now she's a Muslim. She's the first Muslim, which in fact she's not. You know who's the first Muslim on the council?
Thank you for bringing that up.
You
Go
know what I
ahead.
was? You know who the first council person that was Muslim?
Who? Tell
Gail
us.
Chaneyfield Jenkins.
Oh, awesome.
Gail name is Gail
Awesome.
Hickma Chaneyfield. She grew up in the mosque. Check this out. She grew up in the church, but she grew up in the mosque. And
Wow.
she was the first Black woman to graduate that was elected to Sister Clara Muhammad School.
Wow.
So this woman walking around now, she got stuff wrapped around her head. I hope she keeps that on for the next 6 months.
Oh, when did that? Whoa, wait.
So
See,
let me
now
just ask you,
this is when it gets performative. When people start doing stuff like that.
what I was going to speak on it, not on your show, but you gave me an opportunity to do it. I thought
Yeah,
it was
because
laughable when she was promoting. So does she believe in Sharia law? What kind of Muslim is she? Is she a Sunni Muslim? You know, when she says she's a Black Muslim, you know, I mean, what the hell does that, what does that mean? Because listen, my name, you know what my Muslim name is, Sakima?
What's your Muslim name?
Akbar Muhammad.
Akbar Muhammad. Oh,
You
really?
know, you know what my X was?
What?
31X.
Oh, really? Wow.
People don't
Wow.
know that about me. So when people be throwing all these brands around, I bust out laughing. I'm like, well, when did you know, what kind of Muslim are you?
Exactly.
So I thought
Exactly.
it was funny when first of all, she started at a job lying, and the other thing that I thought was really interesting, the Muslim community said they voted for her because she was Muslim. Well, they voted for the wrong person temporarily because Gail was not only the first Muslim, but she gave the Muslims everything.
Wow.
She helped them through everything. So it goes to show
Wow.
you how loyal that clan of Muslims are. So I guess she wants to
Wow.
be the Madami Muslim. What is she want to be?
Mamdani. Yeah.
Madani
Yeah.
Muslim. So my thing is, I'm gonna hold her to that now. So who are you working for? The city of Newark and sent you up because everything she's ever done. I'm not going to be kind to them now. The election is over. Gail's going to run in January. I go back in hiding in January, and I'm just going to eat their asses alive when I can. But at the end of the day, I know the story. I know the truth. The mosques
Wow.
down here in Lincoln Park, Gail gave them that property, and I was against it. The property on Bergen Street, Gail gave them that property. The Muslims, the Muslims that say they voted for the Muslim that never did anything for them, and then the $5 million that Gail
Wow.
gave Wisdom. I thought Gail was very nice. I didn't know why Gail was so damn
Oh,
nice.
Wisdom got 5 million.
Wouldn't even
Wow.
exist. Would not
Wow.
existed at the level they did before they fell.
Wow.
Gail gave them $5 million. You know who gave them the $5 million? You know who brokered that $5 million deal for them?
Who?
Kevin D. Jenkins.
Oh, wow.
You know how it happened? I'm
How did it
sitting in the
happen?
office. Gail took $20 million out of the bank because she felt the banks were not lending enough to Black owners, right? And Black people, right? You know what Gail did? She took the money out. And then the banks panicked and Sharp and her sat in the office because they knew they had triangulated the banks really well. And Sharp asked me, Kevin, who do you think we should help first? And I said, well, let's help Wisdom. Let's help them. They came back from the Million Man March. They're doing something. Sharp looked me in my face and says, Kevin, don't you think we've done enough for them? And I said,
wow.
well, Mayor, we can never do enough, right? We can never do enough, Mayor. He said, be careful. And his prophecy came to be. Look what Wisdom did. And then you have people in the Muslim world going around saying, well, you know, Gail's campaign is being financed by Republicans.
That was wild. That was wild.
Now, you know why they said that?
That was wild.
I'm a Republican. I'm a registered Republican, but they didn't say that Gail raised $250,000 for Murphy, who fucked over her. Didn't say that Gail had Corzine at her.
$250,000, I remember.
Wait a minute. No, hey, didn't say all of the prominent elected officials in the world ate at my house, and those Negroes was eating in my house. So I can tell the story, but I don't want to get into that. I wanted you to go through your list of things you want, but I'm going to tell you that I'm going to lay it all out for you. And maybe we should do another show because now I'm going to show everybody what this is all about. So
we're going to lay out the givings to Wisdom.
Right. What you see at the council now is an imposter. She shouldn't be there. And they cheated in District 40. And I know that. We all know where they cheated. And we understand it. We're adults. But we understand that they're cheated. She didn't even campaign. She never knocked on your door. She never did anything.
Wow.
So at the end of the day, Newark, again, we have to correct that. We have to come out and correct that. And people know, I'm not, speaking for Gail. Gail is quite able to speak for herself, but I speak in a different language.
Right.
I know that. I speak in a different language. So at the end of the day, she's not going to do anything. She's going to be a rubber stamp. She shouldn't be there. Majority of them shouldn't be there. And they were
Wow.
working hard to keep Gail out of there. Oh,
Yeah, I
trust me.
see. I see.
So,
I've
but
seen it.
98 votes. Listen, in District 40,
That
240 votes to 40, 4 to
that's
1.
nothing.
That,
98 is nothing.
no,
That's
but we
nothing.
understand where it is. So now she's got to get ready for the real beating she's going to get.
Yeah, this is
Everybody
gonna
now
be
knows that nobody can sit on the sidelines in this election, because if we don't have a representative, and I got to tell you, Gail is exceptional. If you don't have a representative like Gail, you better start packing your damn bags.
right.
You know, because
Right.
this town is gone. So anyway, that's enough of that.
Donna Jackson said Essex County has not done a legal election in 20 years.
Probably so. Yeah, she probably, now Donna would know that much better than me. But at the end of the day, the level of cheating, but let me tell you, the level of intimidation that I saw them taking the seniors through. They were actually going around telling seniors, "We'll pay you for every vote."
What? What are they paying them? How can
But
you?
here's the sad part about it is,
First of all, that's screwed up. That's
well, no, but
messed
here's
up.
the
Why do
funny
you
part,
why do you
though.
gotta pay for a vote if you're quality? If
Well,
what you do in the community is competent, there's no need that you have to pay anybody for a vote. That's desperation.
but what did I tell you? I told you we live in this city is a criminal city. It's a Class A criminal city. That's what it is, top to bottom.
But when I meet them where they are, I end up in handcuffs. So how
Well,
do we?
you know what?
What's the solution?
But
What's the solution?
you won the day, though. You won the day. You know what? You won the day. They can't keep a good woman down. They can't keep
They
a good
can't.
family down. They can't. And you know what? Look at you now. Look at
They
what you're
can't.
doing now.
Right.
That was just
Right.
a small setback. But guess what? They should be locked
What?
up forever. I mean, come on, give me a break. I mean, so now I got the chains off of my
Look,
ankles.
this
The
is a
election.
shame. Giving substance abusers $10 for their votes, and I know that's true. I know that's true.
And the shameful part about it is, you know, I mean, what are you going to do about it? But if good citizens of Newark really want change, you know, they have some work to do. So I'm proud of Gail. I know she's coming back in January. We're all excited about that, and I just think it's great. I think it's great.
Wow. Now, someone posted some stats. I don't have the stats, but it was Edward Johnson the Fourth.
Oh, I
He
know.
showed the decrease every year and how many people came out and voted for the current Mayor
Oh
Baraka.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it decreased.
Expeditiously. I mean, expeditiously.
Right. And you would think if you're doing if he's doing so great, why didn't it excel even with him running for governor?
Well, the illusion is that he accomplished something, and he didn't. He didn't accomplish anything. I mean, the fact of the matter is he played the race card. And this is the thing that I find fascinating about what you're saying. I hope I can articulate it with some clarity, that he felt as though that he was a black man and that black people should vote for him. And it goes to show you a lot of black people around the state doesn't even know the conditions of the city of Newark. We don't have a real press in Newark anymore. This is why your show is important. You need to up level it some more, intensify it some more, because we don't have a press in the city of Newark anymore to write these stories and cover corruption. So shows like yours is very, very important. And anybody that's standing on the sideline saying, "Oh, I ain't got to worry about it," well, you stupid. You should worry about it, because it decreases the value of who you are in your family, in your business, or in your home. So at the end of the day, nobody's going to get a free ride from me. I'm going to talk about you and show people who you really, really are. See, because me, I could stand on my stuff. I mean, I could stand on my stuff. You know, I mean, it's just what it is. But he is. It's very, very interesting what I'm paying attention to. But the city of Newark has some critical problems, and the citizens of Newark are responsible for it. I mean, you look at that council, you got to get high.
you listen.
You got to be smoking something that night. I feel sorry for those
or drunk.
I feel sorry for those powerful women that go down to the council and do that fine work. But I have to say something. You know, and I said fine women because there are a lot of good men that go down there too. And one of the people that we didn't get along for years was Alif Muhammad. And what Alif has been doing is absolutely fascinating to me and powerful to me, because I trust people that change their mind and evolve. Because I've
Right.
changed my mind about a lot of stuff. You
Absolutely.
can go
Me
back 20
too.
years and hear me, and I'm like, I might have said one thing. I'm like, hey, I might have been wrong on that. And I'm gonna
Me
tell you
too.
why. Donna Jackson was at my house. I don't know if she's watching this. I know she's gonna bust out laughing. Me and her got into the biggest argument about the projects. I mean, we Donna and I could, you don't, if you're around us, you'll see we it's out of love. And I said, I'll try to blow every one of those damn buildings down, Donna. And she says, well, Kevin, look what happened. And when she broke it down to me, it took me 3 days to think about what she said. And I called her, I said, we should have handled that better, because it did
Okay.
disperse that strong community ties. No matter if bad or not, we should have tried to come up with a different plan. But at that time, the money was available to do the Hope 6 project, right?
Right.
It was a lot of money to deal with blight. And, and cities want to get rid of blight, you know, and
Right.
that's what we did during the crack epidemic. We cut the deal with the devil, Bill Clinton, who I know. We
Mhm.
cut that deal with Bill Clinton, and we took that money, but then they created the prison industrial complex.
Wow.
So
Wow.
they brought policing, community policing, but who was getting locked up? A lot of our Black kids that didn't have opportunity, or they were caught up in the drug game, or for whatever reason. But we filled their jails. So we took the money, we took the devil's deal, and look what the impact of it has had on our community. Look what the impact on our families, right? And our
Right.
children. So Donna made a very, very good point. But the reason why I was able to listen to her is because she was coherent in her position. It was not
Okay.
emotional. And then I had to call her back, and she's probably laughing. She said, "Big head," because she called me Big Head. Everybody calls me Big Head in my family. They know that's my nickname, right? So I called her back. I said, Donna, I thought about what you said. And I said, you were right about that. I said, we should have handled that differently. But now look what we have. We have an explosion of housing that nobody's living in.
Yeah. Yeah.
20%, 30% occupied. $4,500 to live in a 1-bedroom apartment, right? In Newark, New Jersey. When you come outside, you got 4 places to go. They destroyed the
Wow.
museum. They destroyed the Newark Museum. They
Yeah.
built
I
an
seen.
apartment building next to the museum, took the parking away so people can't park. What kind of
Right.
nonsense is that? They took that treasure and destroyed it because we don't have leadership in the city of Newark. We had the former
Wow.
president of the library sell our property. You know why? Because the
Wow.
people that are running development, they're not from Newark. They don't care about Newark. They don't care about our people. They don't care about culture. They don't care about
Exactly.
anything. They care about. I'm not going to say that loud. I'm going to leave
They're
that alone.
breaking up the community.
I
They're
mean,
breaking up the community.
to build that, and then L&M did the project.
The
The work,
same people who left
New
Georgia
York,
King Village.
yeah, in New
Yeah,
York,
they were in New York. They did
they've been
disastrous things in New York.
and
They came.
they've been liquidating their properties in the city of New York. So here we go
Wow.
again. We are in this cycle, perpetual cycle of hell. So I know you want to talk about other things. So let's talk about what you want to talk about.
You mentioned something that I wanted to go back to
Yes.
with, hold on, let me see. I think somebody mentioned it in the comments too about the housing.
Mm.
Adrian Nichols said she disagreed. Corruption aside, the other candidates for governor did not have an agenda on housing inclusivity and affordability.
I don't even know what that
Now,
means. I don't even know what inclusivity means. And I don't know. I just look, I'm in the affordable housing business,
right,
and New
right.
York doesn't have a plan. So
Exactly.
it doesn't
So,
have a plan. I'm in the, wait, but let me stop you. I'm in the business. I know affordable housing. I know community development. I know community economic development. I know the engines of a city. Inclusivity. I don't even know what that means. What does that
right.
mean?
We need to see where in Newark it was that done. Where is affordable housing in Newark? If that was the case, if now it's easy to talk about
Well,
what you want us to have. It's easy to, talk about fantasies of how we want our community to look when you go out on these campaign trails. But people need to start looking at these cities. where
Well, I
these
don't know what
people.
that means. That's a social. One of the things that we do in this business, I don't know what it is, but we use a lot of language that means nothing. It's a lot of word
Yeah,
salad.
fluff. It's
The
fluff.
bottom
Yeah.
line: Are we creating? Are we building housing for the poor? Is the
No,
Newark Housing Authority fulfilling its obligation? The Newark
no.
Housing Authority is not in the development business anymore. But guess what they've done? They've created their own development company outside of the housing authorities, a quasi development company. So,
Mm,
housing authorities are now responsible for their own bottom line, right? And if
okay.
you look at the housing authorities' housing stock, half of that's you might have 1,000 units of housing authority properties that are available right now.
Wow.
Right. So when people use those terms, I'm like, those are like social justice, DEI, inclusivity. What the fuck is that? I don't mean to be rude. No,
No,
seriously. I don't mean to be
look,
rude. But what the fuck? What can somebody explain to me what that I don't know. Can somebody explain to me
it's
what?
the same thing as a cisgender woman and a cisgender male.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
what
I don't come up with this nonsense.
and don't get me wrong, I respect people's thoughts about certain things. I don't want to be rude to anyone. So I'm just saying to you, you got to break away from that thinking because it's not logical. It doesn't make sense. If you
Right.
have if your median income is at $28,000 a year, majority of your median income in Newark,
Right.
28, they still saying it's 36. It's not. But they probably adding the people in the building, new apartment buildings, but they don't really live here. They're just visiting, right? So
Hmm.
at the end of the day, what are we talking about here?
I don't know. That's why I just walk off because I don't know what they're talking about. And I feel like I don't feel included. If I don't know what the heck you're talking about, you're not being inclusive.
Well, inclusive
If you're
doesn't mean
using cryptic language.
inclusive doesn't mean Black Americans.
Okay, so let's get into that. Let's get
When they
into
start
that.
using that word, that means every other group except us.
Wow.
See, when you start using, when they start using that word equity and inclusion, that has nothing to do with Black Americans.
Mm.
It has something to do with another group. So we got to stop using that. And anytime you see a Black young person that uses that language, run for the hills because their education is worth shit.
Let's talk about that. The youth, the disengage and disinvestment. There's a disinvestment in our future. And I think that's crazy that nothing is being done about it. And we have a non-white administration.
Well, you have to understand, majority of the people that are on that dais, their education was worth 2 cents too. So they can't comprehend anything that you and I are talking about right now. But
Wow.
our youth is in trouble for a number of reasons. A number of reasons. And you know what those reasons are? We have
What are
allowed
those
other
reasons?
groups, outside groups, to socialize our children. We have
Mm.
allowed the breakdown of our family. We have detached men from the family. We have created this agitating environment between the Black woman and the Black man. We
Mm.
have now become a culture of dependent people. We're not leaders. We don't own. We don't. It's what we've done to ourselves. What we've done to ourselves is absolutely a nightmare. So you have a lot of young people that have been educated for the last 15 years in these public schools. They
Mm-hmm.
can't read and write. They can't hold
Right.
jobs. And then you have a lot of kids that went off to college, right? They got all of these superficial degrees, a degree
Mm-hmm.
in how the moon fits into a disc. And then they come home and they say, I got a degree and I need a job,
A
right?
degree in wait, what's the other one? Social emotionalism.
Yeah, they don't. And you gotta laugh about it because a lot of parents allowed their children to get those degrees, right? And so I'm saying to myself, that is sad. So a lot of our kids are just trapped now. And
Yeah.
even if you go and talk to them, like I said to a friend of mine the other day, and I was at a certain person's funeral. I'm not going to say the person's name. And this football team came in to pay respects. It was Donald Bradley. I can say he was our friend, Donald Bradley.
Okay.
We love Council President Bradley, right? And they came in, and the kids looked dusty, old. They hoodies on their head. They didn't
Wow.
wear jackets. They didn't have ties. They didn't have
Are
any.
you serious?
They came in. I mean, they marched, and people cheered for them. But I'm saying, this
My
is not right.
and
These kids, you see what I'm
the
saying?
adults put them in. See now, my coach made us dress up. If we were to show up like that, First of all, they'll have an outfit ready for you so that you can look presentable. And then later on in practice, you're running for that. You're
Our
going to
kids,
pay for that.
our kids, we've allowed our kids to grow up in a war zone,
Wow.
and we have not told them their behavior is unacceptable. We have not said to them that, excellence is excellence. It's not ratchet culture. It's black culture.
Exactly.
And you don't
Exactly.
get to make an excuse about what happened 400 years ago. Let's worry about what you got to deal with today. And I
Now,
find
what
yeah.
about the people saying that the kids are like that because of what happened
What?
400 years ago? What this is the impact, the ongoing indirect impact of slavery. What's your take on that?
Bullshit. There's a lack of parental control. It's
Okay.
a lack of appropriate education. It's a lack of socialization. Our kids are not socialized correctly. I mean, look,
They're
the
not.
phone is even though this phone is a powerful tool, we allow our kids to be managed by the phone. We
Ooh.
don't talk to our kids anymore. The thing that really happens is really going on too. And I want to say this with a lot of care. And I think people, if they're living in the real world, they'll understand what I'm saying. We have single moms that have raised single moms that are now raising dysfunctional children.
Wow.
And you know what? And that's not to suggest that they're not good single mothers, but that should be not the motivating tool. We should always promote family, right? I don't care if your father was a junkie. When a father was in the house, it meant something. And that's the extreme.
Okay.
The father means something. Now, that doesn't suggest that that's for every situation, but overall, the social destruction of our community happened in those areas, right?
Right.
So,
Okay.
it happened in those areas, and we allowed it to happen, and we made up excuses for it, and now we're paying for it. We're paying for it, and that's the thing that breaks my heart the most. We're paying for it, and these kids don't have it out. That's why, we took our kids on Black History tours. That's why we started our own libraries for our kids. That's why we started lecture series for our kids, And Black men was corralled to vote, but they weren't corralled to go heal their families and heal their communities, because a lot of those men that were souls to the polls, souls to the
Right.
They have no souls. You know what I mean?
Queen says their kids only matter when they're on a t-shirt. That is deep. Or when there's a balloon release.
Yeah, I didn't. You know what though?
Why do your kids? It's too late now. They're gone.
But
and that's heartbreaking too. That's heartbreaking.
She makes it very profound. That's a very profound. And you know what? It is real. You can't run away from it. Just go on every corner in Newark, right? Mm-hmm. And you see how our young men look, right? And you don't see any Black men just run to the guys that run to the polls. They do these men events and they sort of jerk each other. Talking about, we got to do better. That's bullshit. Y'all know how to deal with this. That's why, young men like Leonard Ellis and a lot of young men, even people tell me, oh, well, I said, well, wait a minute, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I get it. But what are you doing?
Right.
And that's my position on those things. I can tell you a lot of great men that are doing a lot of stuff, but Queen is right. I mean, a lot of these people are good people, but you know what the problem is? We're not caucusing with each other.
Right.
Forget about their caucus. We need to caucus with each other, right? I mean, we need to sit down and talk with each other. I don't want to sit down and talk with a bunch of beta men masquerading as men. I put on my page today about the feminist man. And people, I don't think people understand it. We have men that are cloaking themselves as men. They are girls.
Ooh,
they're not leaders.
Wow.
They're beta men.
Wow.
They're all in City Hall right now.
Wow.
They're all running your departments right. They're all on your council right now. They're girls. That's what they are. And and nobody's listening.
They'll fight you on that, because according to them, they can be girls if they want to.
Oh, well, okay. I didn't. I'm not. Yes, right. I see what you're saying.
But you're right though. I get your point.
Right.
I get your point.
So it's a reality that we have to. If we caucus together and talked about things, we'll learn from each other and build on that, and work through those kinds of things. So, I just got to tell you, I just believe that, because like I said, I'm a parent, but my daughters are strong young women,
Right.
and they know who their father is. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And they know
Wow.
that dad is going to always be there for them, and dad is going to. If anybody knows me, I'm very hard on my daughters. They know me, but I adore them, but I'm very hard on them. And my thing is, I just think that we have to do a better job. And we
Right.
have to start defining ourselves differently. We have allowed these social scientists to screw up our family life. We're even defending failure now. I
Yeah.
find it
Yeah.
interesting. You can't even have a conversation
Let's
because
talk about that. Yeah, I feel like that too. Like I feel like, why can't we criticize failure? And it's not to beat a person down, but to let them know, buddy or miss, that's not it. That's not working. It's
Yeah.
not working.
Well,
And they
first
get
of all,
they get mad at you. Oh, you
they
bring
start talking about your mama.
right, right, right. And it's like, but you screwing us over. I'm supposed to sit here and not say anything?
If your average child, look, so you have young women out here acting like they're more masculine now than men. I mean, dude, that's. I'm sorry, guys. That you can't think that's okay. You can't think that's all right. It's just not. That
Yeah.
behavior is masculine. It's not feminine, right? And I'm sorry if you feel uncomfortable about that. And I'm not making no apologies for it. This is why our
Mhm.
families are so dysfunctional. Men and women need to find balance again. Now, there's some good men and there's some bad men and there's some good women and there's some bad. But when it comes to your young women and young men, we have a sacred responsibility to teach them differently.
Right.
That's all I'm saying to you.
Right.
So at the end of the day,
Socialization.
yeah,
It's like you
it's about
said.
listen. I mean, my grandchild, my youngest grandchild, me and Gail's grandchild, Brooke. Everybody knows Brookie in the family, right? She lives in California, but I
Uh-huh.
watch how she navigates between her father and mother, and she's very ladylike. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And she's only
Uh-huh.
3 years old.
Wow.
You see what I'm
Wow.
saying? You see how it's embedded in you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
when you see your elders acting out in a masculine way, you take that character and you add it to your sauce, and then you go to try to have a relationship with a person like me, and I'm looking at you like you're crazy. We got to be honest about that.
Right.
I don't care about your gender. I don't care about all of that. Family structure is absolutely essential.
Okay.
That's all I'm
Uh
saying.
Diane Parker says girls acting masculine starts at home. They're not being taught to act like young ladies.
And that
Well,
that is
I mean, when like you said, there's no male in the home, and
that was all done by design. But now that we've identified it, why are we still talking about it? We identified it as a critical issue in our community, right? So
right,
we should
right.
be addressing it, not running away, and not trying to make you feel good. I'm not trying to make you feel good. I'm not here to make you feel good, Sakim. I'm just having a
Yeah, that's
conversation with
a therapist does that. You go see
you.
your
Yeah,
therapist or your mother and father, or your lover, whoever you
right,
know.
right.
Right.
And I think I have a position in this issue because I've raised my kids and I've been married I'm going on 32 years.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
so 32
Wow.
years,
Congratulations. And you
32,
know
but
what? I was so thankful this holiday season is Thanksgiving, because I realize how grateful I am to have both of my parents.
mm,
My mother and my father. And
wonderful.
they've been in my life, and seeing what other people go through who didn't have that, I see the importance of it.
Well, you shouldn't
I
try to
see.
normalize not having a family.
Right. And I
You
agree
should
with that.
you
I
should
agree with that.
encourage it not
And
having a
I feel so bad that people bring kids into the world and just leave them.
yeah.
Or they
No,
don't
they leave
they
them. They
don't
leave 'em.
form that family,
Yeah.
and socialize them.
They
And
leave them to us.
yeah, they just throw them out for the public to deal with.
Look,
And
I've mentioned,
they're all screwed up because they didn't get the love or whatever from their father, their mothers, and
and then they don't become good husbands. They don't become good. Look, being married, like anything else, is hard work. Every day is an issue. Every day is,
yeah,
it's just
it's definitely work. It's
it's work.
definitely work, but it's worthwhile when you go into that knowing, you this is what you want, and you put that work in and you see the outcome. Like I know when my parents see me, they're proud. They're like, we don't have to worry about her. We did what we needed to do with her.
Well, you know what though? Your parents should be proud of you because you got a lot of guts, young lady. I've always
I
said
got
that
it
to
from
you.
them. I
And,
got it. I had my father, and I thought about the things that my father would say to me when I was a little girl. He would say stuff like, "You could be anything you want."
now
Just
you know
randomly.
we don't tell kids that anymore. We tell kids blame everybody else for your problems.
See, my father never told me that.
Yeah, if you talk to a young man now, you know what they tell you? They start the conversation. Well, I didn't get a break. Well, and then the ones that go off to colleges, when they come home, they speak in Ebonics. I'm like, what the fuck? We sent you. What school did you go?
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
to my bro,
Yeah.
bro. And I'm like, what? Didn't you just spend 4 years someplace trying to get your mind straight? And
Right,
you coming
and
back
grow.
looking just as ghetto and crazy as you left. And then, in these colleges, they are grooming these kids to be horrible.
I
Yeah,
see.
the
I
grooming starts
see.
there. And it started, I think it started with the Frankfurt School out of World War II when FDR allowed these professors to come in, and I think in the California area. My history is a little off, but this whole indoctrination that we've been seeing in these colleges and these
Right.
schools have been going on for like 50 years. And we didn't see
Wow.
it. So that's why when your kids come
Wow.
home strange with purple hair and earrings up their ass, and they got all of these social ideas about the world, and they're trying to tell you what the world is to you when you sent them to college, they realize the problem. Parents have subjugated themselves in the back of the room and let those kids be trained in those schools. And those schools are having a major impact on our community right now. Have you had a conversation with a young man lately? It'll scare
Yeah.
you. You talk to young women now. I mean, I can't talk to the women too much because I can't get past the eyelashes. The eyelashes is like a distraction for me.
You can't.
I can't. And all of the other stuff, I
The
can't.
bat wings.
I can't. And you know what though? You know what that says to me?
What
That
does it say?
women, right? Just like men, we have dropped the ball because remember this. Women are women play a major role in our families, especially in nurturing our children while we're out hunting, trying to raise money and make money. They were really raising our children and disciplining our children, as a partnership with the husband. But you don't have that anymore. Imagine getting up every day. Your mother's out of the house all day. She's working, right? You don't have a relationship with your father. Your uncles and them are great, but they're still not your father, right?
Right.
And you don't have ties to your father. And now you're getting all of this negative stuff from every place else. And then the mother comes home, she becomes afraid of the child. And then you know what she coddles the child. She coddles the boy. She coddles them. And then, he becomes a beta man. He has a girlfriend, he can't handle a relationship. Something happens in their life, he falls apart. I'm like, but all of us go through stuff. We're a little older now, so it doesn't matter for us at this point. But young kids, we're not going to have any young kids leading the world. Our young kids aren't creating anything. Our young kids are not thinking beyond their grievance. If you ever talk to a young person, it's all about grievance. It's all about grievance because, Black people, we belong to the greatest corporation of all, the grievance industrial complex. That's all we do is grieve. Grieve, 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 grieve. Your leaders sell your grievance. Everybody sells your grievance. You ain't nothing. You can't get nothing. You don't own nothing. You don't want nothing because the white man is stopping you. But 85% of this city is ran by Black people.
And that's the part that I can't get past. Like I hear, all right, the white man did this and that. And okay. Now, from what I see in front of me and what I interact with on an everyday basis are Black people.
Well, it's something that
Black leadership or Blacks in leadership positions. So I'm like, I don't feel like the white man is doing anything to me right now.
We should stop using the word leadership. But let me just give you a perspective on this since we're on this, right? You're a young person. I'm just going to say you're a young person.
Okay.
And I'll ask you several questions when you come to me with all of this grievance about slavery and about oppression and about all of this stuff. So I normally run through this little list of things and you guys can use it. Where did you go to school? Where did you grow up at? I grew up in Newark. Okay.
Okay.
Where did you go to school at? I went to school in high school and grammar school in Newark. I went to high school in Newark, right? Okay, got you.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you live at in Newark? I said, so you mean to tell me you grew up in a city with predominantly 75% black, 75% black leaders, 75, and you talking about white people? I said, now I don't understand that. When did a white person impact you? Oh, but this is the one that really gets me. The ones that go off to the Harvard and the ones that are allowed to live amongst those people, right? You know what
Okay.
they come back and say?
What?
They talk about oppression. They went to Harvard not to learn, but they come back to tell us how they were oppressed, how it was a bad experience for me. Oh, but you graduated. Why did you go to Harvard then? If you didn't want to be around those eclectic amount of white people or Asian people, why did you go?
Right.
So when did you, and this is for everybody, when did you ever be impacted by racism? So
Right.
and if you think they're racist, why are you taking their money on their jobs? So at the end of the day, when people come to
And
me,
their degree,
well, when
not
people,
an HBCU degree.
don't get me started on that. But at the end of the day, you know, what is that about? You know,
It's all Trump's fault.
I know,
because he's white. White man.
Yeah, that Trump syndrome, what derangement syndrome is real. My God. I mean, Jesus Christ. But anyway, I think we have to reorganize ourselves about how we value family. You know, we used to have a church that would bring the family together. We don't have and I want to spend some time on that right now for half of a second.
The church and the masjid.
Well, let's talk about the church right now, because the masjid is a whole nother story, right? When I was growing up, the mosque and or the church was an active participant in our community in a very, very strategic and global way.
Right.
It was about family values. It was about God. It was about community. It was about all of those positive factors that I grew up under and you grew up under, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
So
yep.
Think about those entities now. When people say the Black church, I have to correct them. This is not the traditional Black church. The Black church today is a proxy for the Democratic Party. It's not the Black church is the proxy of the Democratic Party. The Black church is not the traditional Black church, right? That set in their churches, that talk about how to organize their businesses, talk about how to build community, talk all of the positive things that were coming out of the 30s and the 40s and the 50s up until the 60s, until we took the devil's deal with Lyndon B. Johnson, right?
Okay.
So churches were active. Churches were social events, education events, family events. Right now, the churches, the pastors' only role, Black pastors' only role, is to be proxy for the corporation of white supremacy. That's the traditional Black church. That's the Black church of today, not the traditional Black church. Not the traditional now. It's too different. And I think we get it mixed up. Their journey is not to heal. Their journey is to participate as partners in the final destruction of the Black group and the Black people in this country. And I dare any one of them to tell me, you know what they'll say? Well, we got these programs. And I'm like, well, that's not what I'm talking about. So anytime you see a Black man talking about, we got to get together, we got to do this, we got to do that, it's all bullshit. They are proxies for the corporation of white supremacy. I want everybody to know that these churches don't represent the faith that you were brought under. And the same thing for the mosque. The same thing. I grew up in both places. And I'm privileged. I was privileged now. I was privileged.
Absolutely.
I was privileged. You know what I mean? So I was very privileged to grow up in those spaces and listen to the great theologians of my time, to listen to the great thinkers of our time. I grew up in that space, and that's what I want for these kids. I want the same thing. I want them to get up in the morning and go listen to a lecture series. I want them to go. I saw some of the sorority things that they're doing now. They've become opposite than our community.
Wow, really?
They're protected class. I'm fascinated by it. Now, you know what? This is my thoughts, my commentary, and people can dispute it, but all you got to do is open up your door and take a deep breath and look out the window.
Exactly.
Go to church and go to the mosque now and see what they're talking about. It'll scare the hell out of you.
Exactly.
One set is more Arab than anything, and the other set is just preaching from the St. James Bible. From the St. James Bible. I'm sorry. If you know your history, I don't think any of us is going to preach from the St. James Bible. I'm being cynical. I'm being
Wow.
sarcastic, but I think you get my
But
drift.
no, I know I get your point totally. Totally.
And this is
We had a ghost in the comments. I don't know who this guy is, if he's a real person or not. Osman Shabazz.
I don't know. He's got a name, so it can't be
Okay. All
whatever
right.
it is. I don't know. But
I wanted to get in some discussion with him, but I don't know if it's a real person, and I
yeah,
don't think we should
I know.
waste our time on a bot. Like I know Queen is an actual physical person, but we know bots come on here
Yeah,
and
yeah, I know.
and people got to be aware of those type of distractions. They don't offer anything intelligible to the conversation. They just want to be disruptive.
Well, you know what though? Disruption without a cause is sad. So we
It's
can move
very
on.
sad.
We can just move on because see,
Clownish.
I'm a twisted brother. You don't get me started because I hurt your feelings, you know. So
I
go ahead.
know. I
Go ahead.
know.
Go ahead.
I know. See,
But
now, wait a minute. Maya Keenan says she's a real person too. I can confirm. She said the old school preachers would not have allowed politicians to come and promote politics inside of their churches. And I've been hearing that about churches lately, that an elected official or a candidate came to their service and talked about running for office. And I'm like, during
well,
church?
traditionally, Black churches would allow elected officials to come in, but from a different perspective, they normally are announced. You know, so and so is in the church. It's an order of the church, right?
Okay.
But what I'm saying is the Black church that we remember doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
They're two-bit players in a big game. They are the
Mm.
gatekeepers of chaos in our communities, and that's the truth. And I would love to have this conversation with some of these Black pastors and see how they feel. They'll start preaching the word and start giving me scripture. And I'm like, I don't need that. I just need you to understand that you're
Wow.
not representing your faith the right way when it comes to talking about what's happening in your communities. And Black churches played a major role when I was growing up. The Black Catholic, let me tell you, and Donna Jackson knows this, the Black Catholic Church, Queen of Angels, Blessed Sacrament, you know, they, out of Vatican II came our ability to change our liturgical experience and make it more African centered. And that was a positive thing when I was growing up. So I grew up in these kinds of churches where, you know, we were having discussions about what was happening, and they were building stuff.
Right.
You know,
Housing complexes.
Yeah, building. They were trying to uplift their people in any way that they can. Now, the Black church now is pretty scary, you know. And plus, I don't even. I mean, are there any men left in the Black church now? I don't know. Are they over 90? And then the young men that are, you know, a lot of them are those beta guys I'm telling you about.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, that's my perspective on the destruction of the traditional Black church. And as far as the Muslim community is concerned, you know, it's the same narrative happening there too. You know, they're more Muslim than they're Black. You know, and that's scary. Now, I have a point of view on that because I lived amongst it. Now, some Muslims say, "No, Kevin, that's not true," and I normally chuckle, and I'm like, "Okay, well, prove it to me."
Right, prove it. That's what we're gonna do. Going into 2026, prove it. Everything that these politicians or whoever's saying their leader, they do this, they do that. All right, prove it.
And please don't Google it. Please don't Google it.
No. I shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to Google anything. Like if I come and I tell you I'm this and that, and you say Shakima, prove it to me, and I show you, that's it.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely.
But if I don't show you, if I'm like, "Oh, Kevin, go Google it," you got to Google it. Well, you always trying to put a Black woman down. Go do your own research. But I'm the one that's up here telling you I'm some type of authority over some type of information or knowledge, and I can't prove it to you.
That's pretty interesting. That's a pretty interesting point. Very good point, by the way. Very good point. You know, listen, I think these conversations are warranted conversations. I think they're important conversations. And like I said, I'm not here to make you feel good. If you need that, you know, go get a drink.
go get a therapist. How about that? Go get a therapist.
You know, hey, listen, if you want to challenge
them, they make you feel good. That's what they get paid for.
Okay.
I know. I had one. She was great too. She was great. She did her job.
That's right. I hear you, sis. Well, it's a great opportunity now for Newarkers to, think about what kind of city they want to live in. Because right now, this is a war zone. And
Right.
why am I saying that in 2025? Like shit.
2025.
I mean, we went from a growing metropolis in 1995 to 2006, and we've been going downhill ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. After 2006, we just, you know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so and I do understand what Farrakhan is saying though about Black Muslims. I do understand that, and I think even Black Muslims, Black Muslim, we have to do a better job of caucusing. And I think that
Right.
caucus thing, because I heard this from a young lady online, because there's a lot of, if your algorithm is right, you get a lot of good, healthy stuff, right?
Right.
You don't get all the dark, crazy people talking about stuff they don't know about, right? You
Right.
don't get the bots, doing what they do. But a real hearty conversation, wholesome conversation about those kinds of things are very important. And I think even by me saying what I'm saying, it should be challenged and it should be looked at, and because we can get to some place in it,
Right.
we can get to where we need to be. So I welcome that kind of stuff. And Farrakhan and I talk about everything. So it's very,
And I'm glad that the mosque is coming up because they've been sliding for a while.
well, you have to understand the culture has changed. When I was growing up, me and Farrakhan was growing up. He's a little younger than me. I know he ain't gonna say I ain't Kevin A, but we had structure.
Right.
We had Black men in the mosque that gave us structure, right? To be a leader, to be transformative, to embrace and love your family, embrace and love your community, and own and build. Now you don't have that.
Right.
And I have Muslim friends, intimate Muslim friends, all my brothers and sisters. My brother was Muslim. Everybody knows that. Right?
Right.
And we used to have
Right.
very good conversations because we were trained differently to have those kind of conversations. So I don't want to Arabize, Islam. I'm not into Arabize Islam.
Right.
I'm just not. And I see a lot of that happening in our community. And this whole notion, vote for this person because they're Muslim, was the most ridiculous thing I heard in my life. Because what if I go around and say, okay, Christians, don't vote for the Muslim, vote for the Christian? What the hell does that do? And then for them to make up an excuse for somebody that never did anything for the Islamic community, it fascinates me. So I'm not going to let anybody off the hook now. See, I'm different now. I ain't running for nothing.
Right. So with that being said, I need your honest opinion about what you think will happen since this federal consent decree ended in Newark. Do you think that Newark will become less safe, or
the consent decree was
back into their old ways?
The consent decree was always a con job. Look, let me tell you what the federal government did.
Okay.
So you'll know. This is why they're getting rid of it. The spin they put on it, the reforms came. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's not why the consent decree is going away. There's the assistant U.S. Attorney General. I think her name is Harmeet. She's brilliant. Mm-hmm. She started realizing that it was a scam.
Okay.
It was a scam. And what she was saying was, well, you know what they were doing? They were coming into your town, right? If you had any discrepancies, and Newark Police Department got issues, right? Okay, fine. What they did was they said, now we're going to bring somebody in to be over your police department, and they're going to do reforms. You know who got paid? The federal government got paid by the city, and the lawyer got paid.
Now, where did this come out of the city's budget that we don't have?
Came out of the city's budget, absolutely.
Wow.
So go online. The assistant attorney general said this is a con job. So they've been closing them all up. So this whole notion that you're hearing about, because they did reforms, is maximum sophisticated confusion. It's not true. I'm glad you asked that question, because that's a lie. There was no reforms done. They didn't even have real strong community meetings. And the lawyer that they had is a good guy. He made millions off the city of Newark.
Oh yeah, he was pretty good. I went to the meetings, and it would be about no more than 15 of us in the meeting.
He was charming, because he didn't have to do any work.
He was.
Free,
He was.
And so what the federal government did, they take that away. So now you hear the spin, because we don't have a press. Oh, well, that they're stepping away now because the Newark Police Department is reformed. And I can't wait for that guy to come out and talk about that. I'm going to eat him alive because I know the truth. So I'm letting everybody know again, smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'll go online and look for that tomorrow, send it to you. Okay.
Oh yeah, I need to post that. We have Maria Elise. She says, Kevin, nice way to put it. You vote for someone that works for the community, not a religion.
That's,
Thank you.
that's true. And don't get me wrong. I'm a man of faith. I believe in God.
Right.
I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, but I grew up as a Muslim. I understand, my tenets as a Muslim. I get it. It's all about serving God. It's always about love, right? Showing each other
Yep.
love and respect and trying to work together to do something that brings value to both of our lives, right? So
Yep.
at the end of the day, once you get past that, then religion is, I don't embrace religion at all anyway. But
Mhm.
I don't,
I
I
think
don't
that's
embrace any,
personal.
yeah.
I think that's like as personal as what's in your closet.
Well, that's
Like
very
that's your
true.
business,
But you know how you have these Roman ministers, like what's that young lady at the council, that Roman minister? She roams around, she goes to every church and she peddles herself through that. I mean, I forgot her name.
Oh, Roundtree.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean,
Reverend
give me a break.
Roundtree.
Give me a break. All right, enough of that. Enough of that
Yeah.
sideshow. She's just active, going nowhere. Praising God. Getting every time somebody dies, she got a goddamn plaque or something. You know what I mean? And then
Wait
she
a
goes.
minute. Wait a minute. Time out. They're giving out plaques
I mean,
when
she
you
gives
die
out.
in Newark. What the
Well,
heck?
what is it
Wait a
called? It's
what's
it's another. I can't remember
wait
all
a
this.
minute, Kevin. What?
Resolutions. No, resolutions are appropriate, but I'm just saying that's her profession.
Resolute.
But that's her.
I thought she had
But
like an
that's
actual plaque,
but that's her.
like
Well,
dearly beloved.
listen. I think she'll do
Shakira has
anything.
moved on.
I think she'll do anything. But at the end of the day, it's insulting. Every time I go
Right.
to a funeral now, she uses that. Where the mayor couldn't be here, and I'm here. Lord, praise you. God's going to strike that ass down because I don't understand.
What's so
I think it's
conflicted?
fascinating to me. It's
It is.
fascinating.
I like her as a person though.
Don't be fooled. Don't be
I
fooled. Wicked Witch of
but
the East.
I don't like what she's doing though with the
I think, look,
politics in the church, but
what she's
I
got,
like her as a person.
look. You know what? Though I kind of like her too.
Somebody I could hang out in the bar with and have a couple of drinks and crack up and laugh.
Yeah, right. I'm just gonna leave it right there.
I could
I'm gonna
party
have
with her.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I've even called her up and said some kind things to her, so I'm very fair.
Right.
But I can tell you when I know bullshit when I see it.
They said Deborah Salton said they call her Resolution Right and Roundtree.
But you know what? And Deborah makes it. You know what? I don't even know why I did what I said. Go ahead and.
Oh wait, Queen said she does the street signs too.
Yeah, I mean it's fucking amazing. She built a cottage industry out of that. Actually, I mean so anyway. Back to the consent decree. It was all a con job. The cities had to pay for it. Was forced upon them. I think during the Obama administration and Bush administration, I think in between it kept it going. So but they got rid of it. So that's a good thing because it was never working. There's no reforms that come out of this stuff. I don't even know. Do we have a police department? I didn't know. Do we have one?
Barely.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know?
All right. I didn't know. I don't keep up with that. But if anybody knows, do we have a police department? Is it more than 2,000? Because if it's 600 to 500, we don't have a police department.
Wow. Somebody get into the comments with that because I have to double check that.
So yeah.
Also, you know what I wanted to bring up before within this 10-year span of Newark not getting better for all Newarkers, you said that when America has a cold, Black people have the flu. So where are we at this point? Are we on life support right now?
We have triple COVID.
So we're on life support.
Yes. I mean, really, I'm not. We laugh, but we really are on life support at so many levels, right? At a spiritual level,
we voting for religions. We got to be on life support.
No, well, at the spiritual level, right? We're on life support, right? At the infrastructure level, we're at life support. On the family and social construct level, we're on life support. We can go at the education level. We are we've been brought. I don't even have a
We
term.
flatlined on
We
education. We
flatline on that.
flatlined.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
flatline
flat
on that. Yeah, we
because
flatline. It's just a disgrace. And you know what? And you have these parents taking their kids to these school every day, running, and you know what they say? What am I going to do with them? My God, gotta say. So you mean to tell me you don't understand what you have to do to protect your child from that system that's hell bent in destroying that child's life,
right,
right? And that's
right.
the same. And I mean, I can't tell parents what to do, but I got to tell you this: I wouldn't put up if I was a parent.
Wow. Wow.
I wouldn't put
And
up if I was a parent.
me
But you know
either.
what? You can't tell people what to do with their kids. But I can tell you this: the people that we can't have a conversation about their kids are the very kids that a breakdown is doing kill us in this house right now.
Right. And you know what? These same parents, they wait until they get 18 and throw them out. They put them out on the street after they didn't prepare them. They act like they don't know why their kids are the way they are. You're the parent.
Well,
You
for Sakima, I left home when I was 18 years old. And
okay.
but my parents already guided us to that point.
Right.
I had my own apartment when I was 18 years old.
These
Right.
kids can't do that these
Yeah, you know why
days.
but you know what though? And
They're
that
not prepared.
and you know what? That's shame. That's a shame because unless you're sick. Now look, here's the deal. I'm coming around a little bit on some things that you're talking about, but it's got to work. Like if my son is home right now and he's in between jobs or he needs some guidance from me, I'm gonna be there
Right.
for him. But you ain't living in my house past a certain period of time. You can't
See,
make a girl is different. You can't make a man comfortable. A man has
okay.
to lead. A man has to critically think. A man has to stand up for. You cannot have your child unless they're sick, unless they're taking care of you as a sickly parent, or it's something stressful happened. Shit happens. I'm sorry, I get that. But
Right,
young
right.
men should be trained to go out into the world, not be coddled at home. Shit, they be coming home, Mom, what you cooking for dinner tonight at 20 years old? What the? Now,
Yeah, yeah.
Donna knows my mother. That was not happening in my household. My sister and my brother at 18 years old, they left home. Now, were we
Wow.
prepared? Yes. But guess what? There was no getting around that.
Right,
Like you had to
right.
go. Now, my sister could have stayed later, right? A little longer. But when she saw me and Sean do what we do, her mind was doing the same thing. When she came home from college, she went and got her own apartment. So my
Wow.
mother hasn't had kids in our house for 40 some odd years.
Wow.
My mother asked me one day, she says, Kevin, if something happened, would you ever move back home? I said, Mom, I would go fight ISIS before I come move back with you. If Donna listened, she knows my mother and father,
Wow.
no joke. But they were
Wow.
nurturers, they educated us, they lifted us up, and they were disciplinarians, and they didn't take no nonsense. They didn't take excuses. If I'd have came home and said, well, Dad, I couldn't get a good grade because my teacher was racist, he would smack me in my mouth.
Mm.
What? He's racist? What? He's indifferent to you? Well, welcome to the real world. Get around that. Work around that to
Right,
get to where you got to get to.
right,
Right? What are
right,
you talking about?
right.
Racist? Well, my father, what are you talking about?
Hmm.
And my parents worked us out of that thinking because he said that thinking is not something that you should be focused on. You should be focused on how do you measure yourself to get around all of that. And if you're not
Right.
training your boys to be critical thinkers and get around, you're damaging them as men because men are important for society.
I
That's why
agree. I agree. We need the men. I'm
they've been
not I'm
forcing
not down with the crew that want to get rid of the men.
yeah, well, yeah, yeah. That crew. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about, that crew. The ones that go home and say, I don't need a man, right? But they don't really tell you nobody wants them.
Right, right, right,
But that's
right.
a different discussion for a different day.
Let me see. Mayo Keenan says her husband and her raised their sons to be men. When they decided they were the boss at 17, going on 18, I put them right out of my door. They were in a new home by nightfall.
And you know
Well,
what?
listen.
That is now, I don't know that young lady, but she is spot on because I went to say something to my mother one day, right? Even though I was preparing to leave, I was gone the next day, but I was prepared for that. See, but you know what my mom did for me? She decorated my apartment though. And
Oh,
she
that
said,
was
okay, why
nice.
are you in school? But but she decorated saying, this is final, my friend.
Right, right,
And
right.
then my
This is
brother,
it.
when I left that apartment and moved someplace else, I gave that apartment to my brother.
Wow.
And then when my
No,
sister came home, she extorted me because I was living in a new apartment and she got that apartment. So it's like that. So, but you got to raise your kids to be independent, critical thinkers. And if you have a parent that's not a critical thinker, and you have a
mm,
parent that's not, but they're
mm,
doomed. Now,
mm.
this is not a just now, let me be clear. This is just not a black problem. This is a problem all across the board. And we
Right.
see it. So we're going into a world with young people that say they want to be leaders. I am petrified of that. I'm
Wow.
petrified of them leading anything because they don't know anything.
Wow.
If you
Wow.
ask them, did they know the
Wow.
great literature of our time? No, they didn't.
Wow.
If you ask them anything about literature and art, I'm talking about real art.
Right,
Right?
right,
You
right.
know,
Oh my
right? But
gosh, I
but
love the
if
art.
they can't process it. So now you
Wow.
just have a bunch of women out there, young women, they're the power players, but not realizing that they're not the power player. This is a hard discussion to have, but it's a fact.
Okay.
I have daughters, grown. I have a
Wow.
44-year-old and a 31-year-old.
Oh man.
Okay, so I talk to my daughters just like this. Just the
And,
way,
and you know what? It's ongoing. It didn't
yeah.
just stop. It didn't just stop when they became legal adults.
First of all, I adore them. First of all, they call me the old man, and my friends know I'll jump on them in a hot second. I mean, I'll get on that phone and I'll cut right through. And they said, Daddy, I said, I don't want to hear it. Now, this is 44 and 31, but I'm
Right.
still somebody in their life,
You're
right?
still their father.
I'm their, and and you
That's
don't have
like
to,
my parents.
you don't have to be a
And I
perfect
used to get
father. You
I
don't have
used
to
to
be
get mad at that, Kevin. But now I understand because I'm like, they're still treating me like I'm their child. But that's forever.
well,
That's what they're supposed to do.
my daughters
And
tease
they,
me a lot now, so they just tease me a lot now. So,
you
but
know,
back to your point, though, I think you make that's a very good point. I mean, that you brought up, and I just think we got a lot of work to do. And actually, to tell
yeah,
you this, Sakeem, I hate these conversations. I like these long formatted conversations because you can have a conversation. But I got to
right.
tell you, I'm embarrassed to have this conversation after we have looked at the disaster and the
I agree.
catastrophe. I'm like, we still talking about this? Like,
Yep. It's embarrassing for me too.
it's like.
And I'm just like over talking about it. I'm over it.
You know,
I feel like
you
in
got
2026, I don't want to have this conversation no
but
more.
you got Barack Obama's wife out there talking about braids and black women hair. I'm like, that's your contribution to our group? Talking about is race, your braids and what the of all the things that you could be talking to about with our community, you're talking about braids and discrimination around braids and hair. I have a
Mhm.
wife that gets her hair done every goddamn other day. But that ain't a conversation
I'm sorry,
that
I'm guilty of that.
no, but women,
That's a woman thing. I'm sorry.
she's up there and everybody cheering. Now, if all the important things she'd be talking about, she's talking about the discrimination of braids and hair. I mean, somebody help me with that, God. God's got to speak to me about that. Why is that an important issue? And why are we so ready to run in a burning building to have that discussion? You know what a friend of mine told me
What?
about black people, because I'm a black American man and I can speak to that, is that we're wildebeests. We just graze on the grass until they point and say, there's somebody you can fight. You can fight, right? You
And
know,
then we just go and charge.
yeah. There you go. Go run in that burning building. They say they're going to take your SNAP from you. Go run in that burning building. They say they're going to take your Social Security from you. Go run in that burning building. They're going to take your Medicaid from you. Go run in that burning building. And none of
Mm-hmm.
it ever happened.
Mm-hmm. The snap didn't happen in New Jersey.
You know why? Because the states are responsible. The federal government
Right.
contributes, but the state is
Right.
responsible. And you know what
Exactly.
they
And
did?
nobody talks about that.
You
Nobody
have black,
talks about the connections and the layers in the
you
government.
have black
And
Americans, people out there telling, because we are low information people are dangerous. And so you know what they had, those so-called imbeciles that we've allowed to run our government. They went out and
yeah.
told all of the poor people, because we got a poor mentality, oh, they're taking your SNAP from you.
Wow.
They're taking your Medicaid from, and that was not
And,
true.
can't build generational wealth off SNAP anyway. So
Well,
I
that's
mean, I thought generational wealth was the goal. Did that change for us, or SNAP is the goal?
well, SNAP is the goal.
Oh
We are
wow.
we are a bottom class. That's a
Oh
part
yeah,
of the industrial
we're on life
complex.
support, like you said. If SNAP is the goal, we're on life support.
Right now, why are we the face of all of that when other groups get it every day? Did you see? Did you?
And
Why
we're
are we
not
the
the
face of it?
majority.
We're
We're
not.
not even the majority that
We're
receive
not.
it.
But you know what? In our mind, because we have become a lower class now, we're not an upper class in our minds. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
This is what we allow to happen. This is what we've allowed to happen.
Mhm.
You know, and we are not. We as Black Americans, we're very. We grew up in a very a proud way that we wanted to own. We wanted to build our own. Not anymore. You know what we have? We have a bunch of socialists operating as Black so-called leaders that are selling you garbage as hope, expecting you to take everything for free. And now we've been sedated by the free food program. What the fuck?
Wow. Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow. Now, do people realize that some of these socialists have millions of dollars?
Of course.
That
Let
they're
me,
millionaires?
let me,
They're
let me,
millionaires?
let me educate you on something. And I say the word education, educate you out of respect. Every movement in this world, right? Every movement in this world, if it was the Russian Revolution, the French Revolution, the civil, any one of those were always what? Created and positioned by the elite. The elite came to poor people and said, we got to fight the leaders in that building. You know what? When they got in their building, you know what they did? They treated us worse. No revolution was ever started by poor people. I want you to remember that. It was always started
you
by
make a good point.
But I'm telling
you, make an excellent point.
I know this history. You know, Lenin, what was Lenin? Lenin was an intellectual.
Right.
All the way down. Just look at the history. It was always French Revolution, right? It was the bourgeoisie. It was the elite. It was the elite that was arguing with the people that were in power because they believed, because they were elite, that they should be in power. And then when they got in power, what did they do? The pedagogy of the oppressed. The oppressed become the oppressor. And you have never seen a movement in this country, in this world, that was not created by the elite. And this is what you see happening in this country. The elite are elite. Let me tell you what's happening in this country.
And this is why education is important, because you have history classes.
The right education. But let me tell you what's happening in this country. The reason why you have so many white people in this country screaming, angry, and mad, talking about no King's Day, you know, he's Nazi, it's Hitler, and all of this bullshit is because he took their free money away from them. All of those NGOs, all of those departments where they were feeding their families, sending their families to Harvard, sending their families. Those white families, those white elite were making money every day and telling us that it's y'all need to fight. We're gonna fight with you. And they're living in the best neighborhoods in the country. Their kids going to the best schools in the country, and they're running all of these nonprofits. I call them the centers of poverty, because also all they do is manage poverty. And you got Black people running around here parroting that narrative to Black people. And you don't understand. Anytime you see those Black pundits on TV, they're just proxies. I got to tell you, I'm embarrassed by those Black people on TV. I don't even want to call them Black because they just stupid.
Wow.
You know, so think about what I'm saying to you. Anybody that's home, do your homework.
Yeah.
None of these revolutions were started, by poor people. Right. They were manipulated. Poor people were manipulated. The Red Guard, in China, the same thing. Same thing in China, the same thing in Russia. All the way down the line. So remember,
I think I need to do a live stream on some history like that, so people can understand.
Well, you should. And so now you see us running around here, talking about not shopping at Target, not boycotting. For what? You know how you boycott them, invest in the companies, become a shareholder so you can go to the proxy meetings and talk about what you want to have going on.
Exactly.
That's what they do. We're grazing in the grass. I told you we're wildebeest.
Damn, wildebeest.
That's what we've become.
We can't be tigers. We can't be something.
No, we're just grazing in the grass.
Damn, mindless. Just mindless and aimless.
If we were lions and lioness, we wouldn't be allowing this to happen. So think about that for a second. Every time you turn around, we got to fight for something that I don't even know. Why are we fighting? What is that about?
Oh, you know what? You bring up a good point, because now people are fighting this ICE, but what about the Black people who are still getting beat up by the police? What about the ATF? Me and Zaire were talking about this earlier. They're still kicking in doors and snatching up Black people and throwing them in cages. We're not talking about that.
Well, here's the deal. And let's talk about that for a second. If you come into this country illegal, I don't condone any police effort that harm people. But let's just be straight up, sis, okay? This whole thing that's happening right now with ICE is absolutely appropriate, right? If you come into this country illegally, you need to go back. But they brought 10 to 20 million people to displace Black people. And in blue cities, they can go and vote without a license or ID. They got free room and board. They got welfare, way above the average number that the average family would get. They got free medical, free education, free everything. Now, guess what?
What?
You don't get to do that in this country. And they were being you. Listen, I saw a New York Times reporter ask J.D. Vance, well, what are we going to do with construction? Well, because a lot of the people that did construction were Hispanic. And if they leave, who's going to build our houses? Now, this is what this white liberal woman said.
That sounds racist as I don't know what.
It's worse.
What are they, the new slaves?
But this is what the white radical left, this is what the white radical left is engaged in, that kind of shit. Wow. Now listen you got to listen to what you got to understand what she said. It's all right to let these illegals in because they're better workers than the Black people and Americans in this.
Who won't be slaved or work for
mediocre
wages.
There you go.
Who know their rights too. Yep. Because wow, that's so
now
messed
this New York Times reporter is interviewing J.D. Vance, and she literally says that. I put it on my page.
Wow, I got to go back to that.
These white radical left
displacement
people are horrible. And you know what? We don't, and we eat lunch with them, and we talk to them, and if you hear them talk, it'll make you sick. They won't say it to me, right? But they feel that way. So they support illegal immigration. They support the massacre of babies in our country. They support tampons in boys' bathrooms. They support, high inflation. They support Black men going to prison. They support, you want me to go? I keep going on and on and on and on and on.
Wow.
So those are the people that we need, and their proxies are the Black elected official.
Wow.
Now I'm giving you a little perspective here.
Wow,
you see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, that's really deep, and people need to think about that.
That's right. So at the end of the day, and I hate that term. I've been trying to get that out of my vocabulary. At the end of all of this, they have a plan, and we're not included in that plan. Our kids can't even pass a basic math test, so our kids can't compete at the technology level. And I love these commercials. They'll find 12 Black kids in the country. They're going to Harvard, but nobody's saying they're taking remedial classes. They find one Black person or 10 Black people, and that's supposed to represent our greater group. No, I'm proud of their success, but that doesn't show you where we really are from a vocational and or a business perspective, right?
Right.
That they don't tell you that. They don't tell you that. That's all I'm saying. And we got to do a better job. Our kids are not prepared. Let's deal with that right now. Our kids cannot go to any college and compete in those clubs of technology and all. They can't compete. And I'm only talking about our kids.
And it's serious brain work. You got to be focused to do technology. You got to be focused to do this coding. It's mind intensive.
I think every school in Newark should be shut down and turned into a sophisticated vocational high school. I think you should have 4 courses a day: basic math, English, comprehension. We should all teach them to read, cursive writing. That's it. You should
Right.
spend 2 hours a day in a classroom and the other days working on creating something.
I agree. I
Outside
agree.
of that, public
I
education is
agree.
a waste. And it's just a waste. It's a
And
waste.
I,
Public education is a waste.
and I'm surprised we haven't evolved in our public education, especially in 2025, to actually teach kids how to operate in the real world and to come in to the real world and take over and advance and develop our society even further. I see our kids, they're shooting stuff up.
Our kids grew up
They're
in a culture. We let
they're in
our
the
kids.
house. The ones that don't come outside and shoot things up, they're in the house because they don't want to get involved in that, or their mom is afraid that they may get involved in that kind of stuff. So they're in the house, cooped up,
So let me
like
just say this.
caged up. They're caged in the house like a
There are some
prisoner.
really good kids. I want to add to this conversation a little bit. There are some really good kids. There's some great kids in this town. And you know what? We should be spending more time helping them. Don't get me wrong. I think the bad kids need attention, right?
I
But if
agree.
you start to elevate these good kids,
I
right,
agree.
and
They'll
educate them
follow.
appropriately, they'll follow. Competition is good because I believe every child has something in them that wants to do the right thing.
Right. I
I really
agree.
believe that. So I don't want to give people I don't care if I gave you the impression, but I just want to say how I really feel about that. But we got to be honest about what we've allowed to happen. We allowed this ratchet culture. We've allowed our kids to become like animalistic.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. That,
Yeah.
that says a lot about
Yeah.
it. So don't get mad when people are talking about us
Yeah.
because we do it to ourselves. Who that white person saying, well, I mean, what they're saying is true. You surrendered your soul to that when in fact we were moving in that direction. So that's where I'm at on that issue, Sakima.
Wow.
You know,
So, are we better off in Newark right now or worse off in Newark?
I said it earlier, we're a war zone.
Mm,
We're rudderless. We just getting up every morning, going to the bathroom and pissing and eating and shit, and that's it.
like the wildebeest.
Like the world.
How do we break out of this wildebeest mode?
Well, it's really, you know, like I said, we have to caucus to and set things right. If you don't change the construct of your city and the people and how you think, it's not. I can't see it. You have to do a real serious like change,
Okay.
and that means you got to get honest with each other.
Right. 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 And instead of giving the fiend $10 for a vote, how about sign them up for rehab?
Well, I don't know if rehab is the issue. I think that socially, but you know, I think socially we have to rehab them. Like, have you ever really had a conversation with a young person, and and when they're talking, I don't even understand what they're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you see how our kids dress?
Yeah.
You see how our kids purport themselves? They don't know how to hold a fork. They don't know how to feel comfortable in a social environment. That's our fault.
Yeah.
They don't. If we took them to a gala, they would be in awe. They wouldn't even know what to do. They would be offended, some of them, by it. Oh, you trying to be white? You know the thing that I find
They're
fascinating.
still saying that?
Oh yeah, did you see this new quarter zip thing that's out? You know,
Oh yeah, the quarter zip. Yes.
I want to show you the level of mental illness we have. So here's some Black young men that is promoting excellence,
Right.
promoting, you know, how to socially construct yourself and dress and be appropriate and reading, because there's a lot that comes along with their marketing. I get it. I've been wearing those things for 40 years. I
thought it was cute.
I thought it was absolutely great. You know what people were saying on it? Oh, they trying to be white. So anything that's good, they equate to white.
What?
Now, in my household, in my family, we all dress like that. Forever. But these young men, instead of see, I like what they're doing because they're creating competition. Now they're putting their suits on.
Wow.
Right now they're even if they have braids, they're organized the right way.
Right.
Everybody walking around here with this nappy hair now, thinking it's culturally appropriate. I don't even understand it. Oh, it's natural for real. I said,
it looks crazy. It looks like they rolled out of bed.
And that's what's happening. As a
It
parent,
really looks like that.
I would never allow my son to look like that. You're going to go get a haircut. Even my grandson, I love I love my grandson. I said, boy, you look like you're crazy with that. Grandpa, I got it done right. I said, you will never work on my job because I don't even
Wow.
understand that. Because I believe in order. Now, I might be completely wrong. You might be the most brilliant person on earth, but don't try to say that's cultural.
Right.
That's not.
Right.
That's
I haven't seen any, like, looking at the history of Black culture, I haven't seen that hairstyle at all. I've seen the braids, but I haven't seen the crazy
well.
afro.
First of all, they're
Even
imitating.
if it's an afro back then, it was picked and,
Beautiful, beautiful,
nice and rounded, and
beautiful,
yeah,
beautiful.
right. It was
Yeah,
beautiful.
it look like, and like I was telling a friend of mine, I said these young kids look old. They look old.
Yeah,
They're
that
under so
too.
much stress. I mean, it's
That
sad,
too.
and I think we need to care, and we need to be honest with them. Don't make up
That's true.
excuses for them. Don't tell them that there's an obstacle in their way when it's not. Don't tell them that they can't be great. Don't tell them like you got to. I mean, you got to hear some of these conversations I mean, I'm like, damn, no wonder your son
Yeah.
in particular is crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's that I
Like,
like
my
it.
parents never told me anything like that, though. They didn't even tell me about racism. I found that out on my own.
Well,
I
you know
was
what?
like, oh, damn.
Where did you grow up at?
I grew up in Newark.
Okay, so if you lived in Newark, right? If you didn't live at a certain period of time, like in the 60s, there was racism. We couldn't go to the North Ward. Shit. We couldn't go anywhere, right?
Right.
But then we took over. So now we've been in power for 50, almost 40, some 50 years. What are we talking about? What are we
Right.
really talking? But you know what our Black leaders did in the last
What?
16 years? They
What?
gave this city away. I'm telling you, I have never seen these many outsiders inside the inner corridors taking over our cities, knocking on doors, treating our people like slaves.
Mm.
They created
Wow.
they've allowed these people to treat us like slaves.
Wow.
Okay? And that's what they did.
Can't own anything. Can't buy property. Can't live.
No, if you can give them
Can't
money, you
afford
can buy
it.
property. You give them some money, you might not even. I know people that gave them money and got robbed.
Yeah, I heard about that too. I heard thousands gone.
Yeah, well, that's their problem. I mean, they shouldn't have negotiated that way. But
Well, yeah, that's what they get because they thought they were going to come up too. They thought somebody said it in the comments about how they got into politics to rob the city.
well, it's really funny. Queen, I know Queen. She says, and not sure some of us don't want men because they turn out to be with men. That's true too.
I mean,
She's right. I mean, she's right. Well, look at our boy. I mean, listen, listen. Your sexual preferences. Look. That ain't even the
I
part
don't
of
got
the.
nothing against that though. I don't
But
think that's our problem.
no,
Our
I think
problem.
no. But I think what's happening though, and I think she's making another point, and I get
Okay.
that. She's making another point that our young men now are being somewhat indoctrinated in a way that takes away their masculinity. You can be gay and masculine. What the hell? You can be gay and masculine, but
That's
masculine
true.
first.
That's true.
They more femme shit. They more femme than a woman. I know
Yeah.
some guys that look like guys, and after I'm talking to them, I'm like beta. I'll call you a beta. My friends laugh. I said, beta, come on, get out of here, beta man. I can get cold like that sometimes. Get beta man, get out of here. They come with that bullshit.
Beat it, beta.
Yeah, they're beat it beta because they're the ones that cloak themselves as men, but they're gatekeepers for the very people that we're against.
Mm.
And there's a lot of them around in Newark now. A lot of these beta girl boys is in Newark. I'm telling you, you can't identify them until you talk to them. And when you talk to them, you be like
Wow.
this. You be like this. Oh my God, you really? I mean, really? I mean, it's a shame, but that's a story for another day. So,
Wow. Wow.
anything else on deck, babe?
Let's see. That's it. We covered everything.
Well, I
We
have
covered everything.
you can. I
But
can.
where my last question is, where do we go from here? We know what we've been through.
I think a group of people in this city have to get together and really address that. Like, where do we go from here? Because the conditions are so deplorable now. The conditions are so bad now at so many levels. It's very complex. So which piece do we take first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which piece do we take first? And it's not as complex as we think it is, but we have to be honest about it. So if we're going to
Right.
focus on children, let's focus on that. We'll just bring back the rites of passage programs for girls and boys. Let's bring
Okay.
parent programming back into the schools with, we could do a lot of different things. I think a lot of things should be done outside of the school and inside your community. But if you're waiting for free food and you waiting for a job at the city or that's not where it's happening. Don't get me wrong. I want every child to work, but I want to build a professional class of young men and women that are grounded in who they are, and they're not going to accept any mediocrity, and they're not going
Right.
to accept narratives that work against them as human beings. And it's
Right.
not because, and this whole Democrat and Republican thing is a joke. A lot of us are just registered in that space. But when I hear people talking about, we got to vote for this person because they Democrat, you got to run for the fucking hills when you hear that.
That too. Yeah,
That's mental
that's
illness. That's
another
mental
one.
illness. That is mental illness at a whole nother level. Oh, and this is the second part. Well, what did the other group do? I said, stop. You don't negotiate with them. You give 95% of your vote over there. So why are we talking about those people over there?
Right. Right.
You know, I mean, why?
Right.
Why are we talking about them? Why, literally, why are we even bringing them up? I said, because
What?
your condition is because of what you invested in.
Right. Right. And that's on a local level. When I hear
Local level
people
is
talking
important.
about Trump, like, okay, it's an interesting conversation piece sometimes, the things he says, okay, we're gonna laugh, blah, blah, blah. But Trump is not making the decisions for the residents of Newark.
They're not.
Trump is not taking away housing. Trump is not selling away the city in Newark.
Well, I told you, we always need a distraction from the truth. That we need a distraction from the truth. Listen, I've been here for 2 months.
Uh-huh.
And when I go out, when I come back, I'm like, what the hell?
Wow.
What the hell?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? What the hell? And I go around Newark now. I don't just go outside of Newark. I go in Newark because I
Right.
come from this place.
Right. Right.
I'm a
Right.
Newark. I'm a
Right.
real. I'm no. I hate to, I didn't grow up on 10th Street. I grew up in Newark.
Right. I agree with you. From what I've seen from now, from when I was a little girl to now, it's
Oh,
devastating.
it's devastating.
It's devastating.
As Spock would say, it is absolutely illogical.
It is. Yeah, it is.
It is illogical what we're saying. And then we have a whole host of beasts. I mean, we got some demons. And see, the thing about it is we don't want to call the demons out, though. Oh, I went to school. I mean, you're a demon. You're terrible. Be quiet. I don't even allow them to talk around me, actually, to tell you the truth, Shakim. As soon as they start talking, I said, stop talking. You know
Right.
what you're talking
Right.
about,
Right.
And,
I feel like, we're being abused as residents. Like you abused and gaslit with talking about things outside of Newark when it's the people here that are controlling our lives and making our lives what it is right now.
and you're absolutely speaking fact. But I have to add something to it. Nobody
Okay.
can do anything to you unless you allow them to. No one can do anything to you unless you allow them to. Trouble will always come, but if you show enough strength, you will always win in the end. If you have standards, you have values, you have principles, you understand who you are, you will always defeat that if you work with people or you were even by yourself. And so
Mm.
that's one of the things. We don't have a sense of pride anymore.
How do
We don't have a
we
sense
how do
of
we build that up? How do we bring that back? Aside from modeling it, because you can go out there and be the best that you can be, and people will say, oh well, that's just Kevin being great. I can't be great like Kevin.
Well, people like you, people like me, we just have to share and talk to people and work with people to get them to say it's all right to think this way as opposed to this way. We have to individually do it. We can do it as a family. We could do it with our children, right? It doesn't have to be this big thing. Just start at home, set
Right.
standards, bring people into the home to talk about how we work together to get our kids educated better, developed and evolved children. Half of these kids haven't been anywhere. Half of these kids haven't even been out of the state.
Wow. Wow.
Half of these
That's
kids have
that's
been,
still going on.
I mean, really, man, it's really that bad. They go to school,
Wow.
they stay on their phones all day. Their mother used the phone mother and father use the phone as a babysitter. They get all of this toxic stuff here on the
Mm-hmm.
phone. It's not managed well. And that's what's been happening. So individually, we can start at our home. Individually, we can start talking to our friends individually. And it's like when people go to vote, I laugh all the time now. I was like, why would you even vote for a person like that? I laugh my ass off now. I'm like, that? So that's indicative of what we've become. And that's going to, like this next election cycle, we can prove that we have the ability to get rid of them.
Okay.
This next election,
That's it. Yeah.
get rid of them. They haven't done anything. They haven't made your life any better. How?
That's true.
That's
True.
where my head
I
is.
know they didn't make my life better.
Well, that's
And you know what? And I put in so much too. And I'm just like, I'm not getting nowhere near what I'm putting in. The kids can't read. They're disengaged.
They're being groomed to hate family. They're being groomed to hate each other. They're
Hate
being
each other.
groomed. I mean, we have allowed these kids to define our kids' sexuality. Like, what? When you're a grown person and you decide you want to do something, that is perfectly okay.
Right.
But for a child, it is not okay.
I don't think it's okay either.
I think everybody as a young adult can make a decision to a degree, but I just don't think it's great at all. I think it's a bad thing. And what I'm seeing in Newark public schools is a lot of that.
Wow.
There's a lot of that deviant behavior. There's a lot of that perverted sexual behavior.
And that goes back to standards
Right.
and values.
Right. And let's be clear. I'm not talking about somebody that's an adult that makes a decision to live their life the way they want to. I respect that.
Right. And I do too. Yeah. Let's be clear about that.
That's not even a discussion for me. That, and look, and Sakima, I told you a long time, I grew up in the gay community. I grew up with my brothers and sisters. I grew up. I know every damn body. But we didn't play that. None of them ain't play that nonsense.
Exactly. 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 Especially not for kids.
Absolutely not. And you as a teacher don't get to teach my kids about anal sex.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
What?
That's wild.
Teaching my kids that a boy can use a tampon? Putting men in women's sports? Giving our kids gender changing drugs? Taking parental rights away? Who's doing that? Who's doing that? The demolition party is doing that. No, the demolition. I call it the demolition party because it wants to demolition society. I'm not making this up.
No, you're not. And that's the question that people need to start asking. Where did this come from? Like you said, where do these ideas come from? Because
in this country for decades, we just didn't see it.
I know when I was a kid and I was doing things, playing, and I never thought about,
right.
Maybe I want a penis at 8 years old.
Oh, wait a minute. I was screaming angry when the kids were making like they were cats in school.
Right.
Like dogs and cats. And then I had to change. I can't say the word kill no more. Unalive. What the fuck is that? And I can't say, wait a minute. I can't say he or she or thee or me or free or be. What the fuck is that?
Confusion.
I can't say wife anymore. I can't say wife anymore. I can't say husband anymore. That is dark, evil, Marxist, socialist fucking ideology. And we should be ashamed of ourselves.
Wow. It's maximum sophisticated confusion for me. Because, some people ask me, like, as a member of the gay community, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. no, half of this and a lot of this gender stuff I don't agree with.
Well, first of all, you wouldn't agree with it.
I don't agree with it.
I call it the traditional gay community is offended. Now, you know what's going on because of all of this sick stuff?
Yeah.
There's a poll that went out. There's a poll that went out the other day talking about gay marriage. Gay marriage is at 98% at one time. You know what it is now? 36%. Why is that?
Wow.
Why is that? Why is that? Because the injection of the LG was fine, but all of that other shit is now getting people to look at that differently. And that has nothing to do with the traditional gay community now. You got to understand this.
I know.
And now we have a lot of traditional gay people saying enough of this. Now, when did you ever think that 36% of the country would be against? It's gone from 90% to 36% that agree with gay marriage. That is because of all of that other stuff.
Wow.
Nobody wants to get rid of gay marriage, but because of that
they want to get rid of the plus. I know, and because the community aligned with them. And all the other stuff, like I don't even know what the pluses mean because I said, what more else can you be?
Well, no, this was a structural breakdown. This is a societal breakdown. This is all intentional. This is all planned, and this is further doing what the destruction of the family, destruction of a woman, destruction. I heard somebody tell me that a man can have a baby, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm going home to get a real stiff drink. Because any fucking baby coming out of that man ass, I want to invest.
Well, that's what they're trying. I think that's why they're experimenting on the kids to try to figure that out.
Yep. And then you got this like binary. I'm like, what? Why do I have to deal with that?
I don't know what it means, and I'm not, and it's not. I don't want to be offensive, but at the same time, I feel offended.
And you know what? The majority of the gay people that I know, they're offended too. It's so many. It got
out of control. It got out of control. We're fighting over this bathroom thing, especially the lesbian women now, the Black lesbian women.
The one in California. Did you see the one in California?
Yeah, Tish Hyman. You're right. It's all over. The Black lesbian women are fighting these white men who are saying they're women that are coming into the bathroom in the women's spaces, locker rooms to be perverts.
It's all pedophilia. They want
flat out perverts.
They want to make not legal. They want to make pedophilia legal.
No, we're not accepting that.
This is what this is all. You go to California, it's happening every day. They're passing laws in California where they could take your child. They could come to your school and take your child for any reason. This is true.
It's sad, man. It's sad. And you know, those pedophiles, they look for kids like that.
And that's one of the reasons
those are the targets.
I don't put my kids online. I never put my kids online. I've never, from a baby, I never show pictures of my children. Only way you know my child is that you just know.
Right.
I never put my kid, in particular, my grandkids. I saw my daughter put my grandchild in California on something, and I was like, oh no, we don't do that. She understood. It was not even a debate. My daughter understood. Right. I said, because they social engineer your kids. You don't know who's looking at your kids. I see people every of their kid. I'm like, well, damn. I said, don't you know there's somebody looking at that? You know? They'll take that picture and use that picture all around the world. Oh, and then come and fantasize about you. And you got to be, I don't understand. People are too free for me on these kinds of situations. But guess what? Men can't have babies. So let's cut that shit out right now. Because if they do, we're going to invest. Sakima, you and I are going to invest.
Hey, me too.
And what a woman goes through, you diminish a woman's.
Listen, I'm trying to transfer menopause onto a man. I'm trying to switch out.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, they can have this. They can have it. Yeah, I don't want that. But and you know, and that too, I feel I'm joking about it, but
I know it's
stuff like that offends me too, because it's like, do you understand what a woman's body goes through? And you're gonna sit up here and put on a dress and a wig and say you're a woman? That's not what makes a woman.
Supreme Court Justice Katani, what's her name? There was a question asked of her, the black um, Supreme Court, Katani, whatever her name is. And they asked her, do you know the difference between a man and a woman?
And what she said?
She didn't answer the question. Right then, I knew she was sick. And I've been watching her since she's been on the Supreme Court. She's been an absolute joke.
Wow.
She would not answer the question.
Why do we have to play these games though, Kevin? Why do we have to play these games? And you know what? We don't care. Let me say this. I don't care if a man wants to put on a dress and emulate a woman or impersonate a woman and all that. But at the end of the day, you're not going to tell me you're a woman and you're not. Or you can have a baby, or you're having a period and you need a tampon. Stop playing games.
Well, you know, black people.
That's confusing.
The black church has failed on that too. The
That's
church
confusing.
period has failed on that. You know,
and I don't care. But it don't matter who people sleep with as long as they're adults and it's consensual. Who you love.
I think a reasonable person would know that. I think a reasonable person would understand that. You know, I mean, just it's like it's embarrassing. But you know, I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to have this fun conversation with you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I actually have fun. I mean, you know, people have their thoughts about stuff, and I like that. You know, I'm open to having all those conversations.
Me too.
But just don't come to me with stupid stuff because I'll eat you alive. I can't stand stupid people.
That one's they beat me over the head with that one. I just had to walk off like this is crazy. This is stupid.
Well, you know, your show is doing great. And
thank you.
You know, and I'm proud of you. And thank you for letting the old man come on and have some fun with you, because I do have some fun.
Oh, you're welcome.
I like to laugh, you know.
You're welcome, as always. I thought we were going to get into a debate with this Shabazz guy, but he disappeared.
No, first of all, you don't want to get into
Don't engage him.
No.
Not worth it.
It's you know what though? When you're doing a show like this, right? Keep the tempo of your show and let people comment. And if you want to pull some comments out, don't get caught in that trap. I mean, everybody has a right to say what they want to say, but they don't have to say it on your show. You can block them off your show. Look, all of the people
I want to block him because I want to hear what he has to say and if it's worthwhile, because he might have something worthwhile to say.
Can I tell you something? What? Take it from the old man. Some people, their energy is not healthy.
Okay.
And you sound really, you know, I want to let some shit you need to just let go.
See, that's why we need the man. We
need
because the man will come and tell you.
You gotta let it go. It's like
get out of here.
We had such a fun time having, you know, great conversation about an array of things. And, you know, and it's not even, look, opinion without context is dangerous. So every time I give you my opinion, I give you context.
Right.
A lot of people want to give you opinion without context. So I stopped people. I said, don't give me your opinion without context. You dig what I'm saying?
Yes, so, I do.
You know, and I have fun on your show. And I like to have these big conversations about some, because I can get deeper, I can get granular, I can get as many levels as you want. You want to talk about global economics, you want to talk about global whatever, you want to talk about whatever. I can do that because that's what I do for a living. You know, and I'm pretty comfortable in those kind of conversations. And I won't talk about your mother.
Right. You don't have to go there.
I'll just have a conversation with you and move on, you know. And the people that's following your show are really beautiful people that want to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
They just want to have a conversation. That's all.
And I thank you for coming on too. I'm glad that I caught you while you're here, and you know, and we got to.
I had a great Christmas. I had a great Thanksgiving.
Awesome. Me too.
I rest a lot. Gail and I were just sitting around chilling and talking, which we don't have a chance to do all the time because we're always running into other kinds of directions. So I realized this is a great time to just sit around and just talk.
Thank you.
That's all we did, is just talk and have some fun.
I'm glad you got to do that, and I'm glad you came on. Thank you for the support and love you show Current Exposure, the audience too. I thank the audience for getting into the comments.
Yeah, and it was fun.
Yeah, you know, we got some work to do though. We got some
Well,
work
you
to
know what?
do.
You're doing the work, and all of the listen, the people in your thread, these are really hardworking people. These are good people. And you
I
know what?
know.
They all want to be a part of a conversation. And it doesn't have to be a fight. Just deal with what's in front of us.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And be real about it.
Be real about it.
And stop fighting. We need to, I want to say this last thing before you go. I think, like you said, we need to stop running into burning buildings, especially if we got issues that are unresolved. We're dealing with a housing crisis, but we're running over here. And
Yeah.
then when we run over there, the housing crisis is getting worse and worse. And then somebody else's issue over there is getting
Right.
resolved.
Right. Right.
And they don't care about us really. So I don't even know why we're over there helping when we have our own cup is empty.
You know what? You're absolutely right. And say that again. Our own cup is empty.
Yeah,
Mhm.
our own cup is empty, and we're trying to pour somewhere else. And they're looking at us like we're stupid.
Yeah. Well, you
Like
know
you
what?
said, the grazing wildebeest.
People are laughing at us all over the world. We're the only group that has not figured out that we need to insulate and start to rebuild our communities because everybody's ahead of us now. Look at every store. You don't have any black businesses in Newark anymore.
Mm,
One or two, basically starving. Every
mm,
store owner here, the barbershops are Dominican, which is cool. That's their economy.
right,
Stores on the corner, Dominican. Chinese stores,
right,
Asian. I don't know if they're Asian or not Asian, right?
right,
Look at the economics of our town.
right, right. Where do we fit in?
We don't fit in, and it's been given away by the people that look like you
Damn.
and me. Think
And
about
that's
that
that
for a
that's
minute.
hard facts. That's hard facts. And
And
I'm
they talk
glad
about
I'm
job
glad you
creation.
exposed that.
They talk about job creation. They talk
Where?
about what? Where?
Wow.
Job. Oh, that job. That
Can't
job.
read a job application.
The job training thing is a joke. That's the biggest joke ever. So we've been on a cycle going nowhere for the last 16 years.
I don't know how we've been doing it.
No, we haven't been doing it. We've just been sucking up the air, just trying to move through it.
Wow.
And these people could be bought up for anything. You can give them a
Wow.
goddamn donut. They'll sell you out in a minute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I love
Yeah,
you.
you're right. You're right for a donut. A
I love you.
strawberry sprinkle donut.
Yeah. And I thank you for allowing me to have this great conversation on a Sunday
I
evening with
appreciate it. I love you too.
you.
And
And tell all of your listeners, I want to tell your listeners, thank you for listening to an old man for a couple of hours. I had fun. I did have fun, and we did try to cover a lot.
yes, we did. We did. Thank you. And you got to come on again sometime, like next year when you come back, and we're gonna do a check-in.
Yeah, you know what? Y'all do that for you. I just hope I'm in the sun then. I'm cold as hell.
It's cold.
I got my winter shit, but I'm like, yeah, it's cold.
I know what you mean. I know
I love
what you
you,
mean.
kid. You be
Thank
good.
you.
Okay.
I will be. See you later.
See you later too, babe.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. That was Kevin Jenkins. Thank you everyone for joining Current Exposure. If you have a topic that you want to talk about and you're serious and you've done your research, send me a DM and we can talk. We can do a live stream because there's a lot going on in Newark that needs to be addressed. And I feel like the community has a whole lot of work to do, a lot of setbacks to overcome and reverse. But nonetheless, I think we could get through it. We get the right people together. All right. Thank you, everyone. Yes, this definitely was a great show. Peace out, and I'll see you all later.